So test. Checking if everything is actually going online or if YouTube is kinda shitting on me. Hopefully not. I'll just have a look. It says the stream is online. I cannot see if it's actually working though, which is a bit of a shame. Oh, there it is. It's working. Alrighty. So, ladies and gentlemen, what can I say if not welcome to the second round of MYASS. Actually, I have the keyboard now, and every time I say MYASS, I gotta do this type on the left. As you can see, we have a little bit of a new leaderboard, a new stuff, let's say, for this whole thing, and yeah, hopefully it's gonna look a little bit more professional as an event. My PC likely will probably explode during this whole thing, hopefully not, but as you can see, if that happens, probably I'll just crash a little bit and then come back, so hopefully that doesn't happen. If it does, then it's, well, not good, but we hopefully see it through. So let me just do something a little silly in the background, and then I'll be back, of course. I mean, I'm still here, nothing too bad, but let me just share stuff all around. Gotta share the link for the stream everywhere so people will see this and hopefully say, what the fuck are you doing, Max? The answer is nothing really, nothing too violent, but you know, that's gonna be tonight's event. So, yeah, lost enough time now. Let's go to an actual nice cam. My PC hopefully won't explode during this whole thing, and practice is currently underway. We got 42 minutes of you know, practice, so yeah, there's more than enough time to actually enjoy, let's say, what's gonna happen here. And hopefully, actually, let me just fix something real quick in the background. There we go. So I can see the YouTube chat as well, which will hopefully prove to be quite a nice companion during the events of this Massacre. That's gonna be this endurance race. But yeah, here in MYASS, once again, we have the leaderboard. We race in Sebring today for the round 2. So, as for rules go for this round, which is gonna be the first endurance race of this championship, which is of course a 6-round championships, we have double points for this race. Yeah, incredible. We actually give points out for these races, which is surprising to say the least. And most importantly, what else can I say? It's gonna be probably a day and night race, which means that we start during the day and then ends during either the night or during the dawn of the next day, let's say, which, I mean, it's not gonna happen, of course, in real time. The race actually lasts an hour and a half around, actually an hour and 20 minutes. But, yeah, what can I say? This is gonna be quite interesting. We actually have some new faces, at least for now in practice, and, well, some missing ones, but that's okay, because, you know, you can't expect people to race in every single race of this championship. So let's have a look actually at the new ones we can actually see, while I can see actually other people joining, like this, which is has just opened Assetto Corsa, so I expect him to be in the server quite soon. So we have the actual founder of Downtown, and, you know, this is his first race debut in MYASS. Once again, I gotta do the thing. But he actually didn't really want to join this thing at first, but then saw the racing was kinda cool, so he just dropped his own livery, did a little bit of practice. He hasn't done really a lot because he entered kind of the last minute in this thing, but yeah, I kinda hope he has a nice race, and I just wanna showcase his livery because I think it's kinda sick, really, especially because I like the details he gave all around, both for the groom and hood, let's say, of the car, the Ace Combat lock-in thing on the logo, which is also kinda cool. I also love, well, the side of the car and the 3 strikes on the back, which are of course a reference to Ace Combat 7. But another thing I actually like, except of course, I mean, actually also with the Fighting for My Father thing, is something that sadly didn't render, which was the rear plate, which is sad because it was kinda funny. So sadly I cannot show you the funny of this livery, but that's okay. I mean, it's a little bit of for missing something, but I guess we're gonna live even without the little funny. Anyway, we wish, of course, the best of luck to Nezu, and we hope that he can actually enjoy this race as much as other people, which don't include at this point Viper, who just found how slippery the grass can be at the exit of the penultimate turn. So yeah. Of course, endurance, it's more about being consistent rather than being, you know, fast as fuck I mean, you actually have to be fast as fuck, of course, during the entire event, but being consistent is quite the thing. Also, speaking once again about liveries and new liveries, we have Lotter, who raced with the Brown GP livery. He has a new one, and it's a reference to MF Ghost, which has, of course, the 86 on the side, a red and black livery, which also sounds nice, but more than MF Ghost, he has a nice livery referencing Gurren Lagann, which I won't spoil, but I'll just say if you haven't seen Gurren Lagann, go watch it, because it's absolutely fucking insane and amazing. So, yeah, just who the hell do you think I am? Which is all I can say to the incredibly fast Lopta. Adriat, once again, racing instead with his Estella Galicia. I think it's called like that, I always butcher names, so sorry about that. We also get a new face in this championship, which is Thomas is Ready, which I'm gonna just call Thomas, of course. He also joined. He seems quite a veteran racer, and he has a very nice livery as well. Here he's the Scuderia Agile, or Agile, if you prefer. And yeah, what can I say? Very, very slick livery. Love it from beginning to finish. And I'm gonna just have a little look for everyone here to the entire livery. And yeah, I know he's a fast guy. I know he will probably fight at the top, and hopefully he's gonna be one to look out for. Also, speaking of people to look out for, we have to say, Reflo, that's nice. I'm not gonna say that out loud. Another person who is missing sadly today is Alex Maggio. Which of course, if you've seen the round 1 of this championship, you know he's a very, very fast guy, and he had a real life karting race, so he couldn't really attend here tonight the MYASS race. But that being said, of course, it's although it's of course a shame, that also means that we have lost the fastest guy we had the last round, which makes the battle for the win a little bit more interesting, because we generally don't know really who is gonna be able to, you know, get a win. So, and looking forward to this race to be able to see who's gonna actually do it, who's gonna actually take the win, run away, and gain double points, which are very important this championship, of course. Then other people on the grid, well, we have the ever so present Forever.exe, which is also the hoster of the server, which once again we thank a lot for his help in this championship, of course. Then, well, Thomas we just saw, Nezu we just saw, we also have E, which once again I'm gonna showcase his livery, and once again I'm gonna showcase both the incredible hood he has here, but also the incredible "Hope is the last thing you lose," which I think is like his battle cry for this race. And, well, you know, in an hour and 30 minutes worth of racing, it's hopefully the last thing you'll ever gonna lose. Then, of course, we got Falcon, which is another very fast driver. Not yet, he hasn't set yet an representative time, but trust me when I say that he can be very fast. And, well, there we go, 218.8, which is, well, third fast time. And I can tell you, as I try to lap this track, I can tell you the 20s to 90s are actually the normal to fast lap times. Then we go to the 80s to 70s, which are very fast, and then you got the 60s to 50s, which are very, very fast, with like a capitalized V. So yeah, keep an eye on the times, of course. Yeah, what can I say really? This is practice, so I shouldn't really get too excited, let's say, for this part of the race. We also have something new here, which of course, well, except of course the FPS counter and GPU and CPU counts thing on the left, which I'll just use to, you know, see if my computer is actually dying or whatever, which hopefully is not the case, but you never know. We also have, well, the real time, which is up on the left, right up. I know I shouldn't say that, but it's right up MYASS logo, so he's up there, and yeah, that's gonna be helpful for all of you to actually keep track of what time is on the track and when night is gonna fall, of course. So yeah, that's pretty much all there is. I know there are a lot of people who need to join already. I mean, there's not gonna be just 10 people. I know that Darcy is also gonna join quite soon, and we know he's a very fast guy and actually got a lot of practice on this track in the past few days. So hopefully we're gonna see a lot of him, a lot of action from him, and hopefully he's gonna have a nice race as well. And here also we have a little bit of a battle demonstration, let's say, between Falcon and Tits, which is of course round 1 race 2 winner. This is gonna be, well, quite an intense race, of course. Actually, let's go on board with Falcon and showcase another good thing of this broadcast thing, which is the telemetry on the bottom right. Yeah, the CPU is my, let's say, tachymeter. I don't know if it's tachymeter in English. I think it's a different name. And as they go side by side here, which is well, an interesting corner actually to go side by side. I've seen a lot of switchbacks, especially with this car through this corner. You know, I kind of expect a lot of good stuff, a lot of battling, a lot of fire, let's say, especially through the night. And yeah, sadly, I didn't bring with me some water, which is sad because, you know, probably my voice will kind of die near the end of this whole thing, but it's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's a long race, and as every long race goes, we kind of have to be here to live it with the drivers on track. We're of course now learning the track. Currently in free practice here in MYASS. I was gonna say the times, but I'm a little bit of an idiot. We have Thomas is ready, leading the charge, which at 2:17.2, which is a very fast lap time, followed by Lopter with a 2:17.6. Then Falcon, third place with a 2:18.8, followed by Viper Sonic, who, well, just went into the pit lane after we just caught with the eye a little accident, let's say, with I think it was Nezu. Then we got Hackbuster in 5th place, and narrowly avoiding, I think that was Thomas. Driving in the 2:19.2, so very fast lap time, although you may say, hey, but still P5, trust me, it's a very fast lap time. Then Adriat, who revealed the last round, that this is his first experience in online racing, so of course big props to him. Hopefully he's having fun, and hopefully he's gonna have a nice race, and he's flying high in P6 for now, followed by E, or Jason Shorts, I feel like, with a 2:22.7, which is not a very fast lap time, but I feel like he's still getting to grips with the track. We got a new lap time from, I think that was Forever. Yeah, I think it's Forever, who just set a 2:20.3, which is a standard lap time and pretty fast as well. Then we got, of course, in last place currently Nezu, which I can't really bash too much for having a little slower lap time, because I think all the practice he had with both the car and the track comes from the last, I don't know, 50 minutes he had to actually practice the whole thing. So we're gonna have to be a little bit patient with him, and I just hope he actually can enjoy this experience, and he'll probably get a little bit more experience for what's gonna be the next round, which is gonna be, of course, in Imola next week. Now, that being said, we can see also that there's a little bit of wind, 3 km/h going south, which can actually affect a little bit the lap time. During the test, we had a little bit of tailwind in the last straight of this track of Sebring, and that actually helps going a little bit quicker, because the car gets, of course, pushed a little bit through the penultimate corner, and that helps gaining a little bit of lap time through the last part of the track. That being said, Lopter just entered the realm of the 16s with a 16.5, which is bloody incredible as a lap time. And yeah, we can have a look at him. Actually, let's go on board with him. Let's have a look at what he's actually doing. Nezu is like trying to adapt to the SF25. I mean, kinda, but once again, he's all about practice, and of course he's lacking a little bit, so he'll get to grips soon. And I know for a fact that Nezu is a very fast guy, so just be patient and he'll shine like everyone else in this championship. Now, Lopter, current leader. Let's see a lap from him. Actually, I should probably try and do like a little bit of a track guide to what's this track, which is of course once again Sebring. I don't know how much you know about Sebring, and well, I mean, Lopter decides that it's not my time to see this track, so we're gonna go on board with Forever, which is on the last corner, and I'll try to give you a run through of this track by watching the onboard from him. So, as it goes into the last straight, actually the start-finish straight, the braking point here should be at the end of this wall on the right. You brake, you go down to 4th gear, and you let the car roll through this corner very swiftly, because if you go too wide you get invalidated, of course. Then you get ready and stay on the right, because you have to brake on the second line here, go down to 3rd gear, try to mount as little as possible the curves, because the car will get destabilized through this Mickey Mouse section, which is actually quite nice with the car, in my opinion. Here you got a little bit on two wheels and destabilized a little bit, but trust me, this can be a very nice section if you don't correctly. Then, of course, you keep your head down, accelerate up to 5th gear, and get ready for the hardest braking point of the track, which is this happen here. You brake a little bit after the first line, then rotate, and on the exit you go up to 2nd and then 3rd gear. Then a little bit of a fast flowing section, you go up to 4th gear, actually 5th if you actually go fast enough, which I think he's gonna be able to reach it just about. Then here you brake on the 2nd marker, go down to 3rd gear, be very careful on the exit because it's very narrow here, although it doesn't really look like that. Then once again you stay as much as possible on the left, then on the right, and then there's no marker here, you have to trust your instincts and brake as probably where you see the curb on the left, and go on the gas as early as possible through this corner because it's actually wider than it looks. Then you stay on the left as much as possible through this little section here, but brake as early as possible as soon as you see the first marker on the left there. Go down to 3rd gear, hug the right hand curb, try not to go too wide, here it's still inside the track limits. Then, still in 3rd gear, you hug the right hand curb, and then you go very wide on the exit through the last straight before the last corner. And the last corner is a very tricky one, as the, of course, lights go on and then off for, I don't know, aerodynamic effects and a little bit of dramatic effects as well. Here, we can see him braking, well, a little bit too late probably, and ideally you would like to, you know, stay as much on the right as possible, but this is also an interesting line, and you have to be very careful on this corner, because if you go on the gas too soon, you'll end up in the wall quite easily, and well, that's of course not very nice. This was at 219.0 from Forever, and that was absolutely incredible. Meanwhile, Thomas is ready, setting a purple 2nd sector, actually purple 3rd sector, and climbing up to P2, which at 216.9, still behind Lobter of course, but still showing that this newcomer can and mean business. So yeah, things are getting heated up here in MYASS, and it's probably gonna get even better as the race goes on through the night. Right now, of course, it's 18.35. Actually, I can't read time codes in English because I'm a fucking idiot, but sun is setting down, and that, of course, is gonna be a theme during the race, because this means that racing in the night is gonna be a lot more difficult, you know, less reference points, less stuff to look at, and more instinct to be held, let's say, to be used actually, to be able to run as efficiently as possible in such a difficult situation. Now, that being said, Tits hasn't set a lap time, and he is running though, so I'm not sure if he has done track limits and nothing else up to now, which would be a little bit underwhelming, but at the same time, I also know he's a fast guy. He struggles a little bit with his track. He has improved during the tests we did on the server, but I expect at least probably top 5, top 6 from him. I know he's fast enough to fight for a podium or even a win if you look back at the last round. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on him as well. And in the meanwhile, I'll try and show you another little neat feature this thing has, which is the onboard view on the leaderboard, which I can do. Like for now, we have Nessie right ahead, and we can look at board with him like this. Of course, this is gonna absolutely kill my CPU, but that's alright. I can do it from time to time, hopefully, and get hopefully nothing lethal on my side. And as we can see, Tits fighting with Nezu a little bit. Probably it's just teaching him the track. That would make sense actually, now that I think about it. But yeah, I'm gonna remove it because you can see on the top left my CPU absolutely exploding as soon as I open that app, so let's not do that. And let's see as he overtakes Nezu, and Nezu I think just spun probably, yeah he did, which is well, not very difficult to do with this car, because if you didn't know, this car actually kicks back when you change gear, both with higher gear and lower gear, and that happens because you get like a kick in RPMs. And because of that, actually, wait a fucking minute. Is the leaderboard on the right the one you see the actually accurate? 25, 10, 07. So Falcon, does he have the 07? No, he has 23. No, I think it's not accurate. So yeah, my bad. I was just having a little bit of a look on that. But yeah, that being said, Yeah, the car is a little bit difficult to drive on the limit, because if you try and change gear in the wrong way, the car will actually kick back and spin you out, which is, well, of course not great. Then of course you also have to consider that at the start of the race and while coming out of the pit lane, you will have, and should have, because there's that by the rules, cold tires. And trust me, cold tires absolutely do kill your turning speed. And that is something to keep in mind, because of course the less your car turns, the less you can go on the gas, and the less you can go on the yeah, you get the point. So a little bit of autism later. Night falls here in the practice session as 1923 hits the timing clock, and we can see people getting a little bit of experience in this last 23 minutes of practice of the night racing they're gonna experience during, of course, the event. So what can I say about night racing, really? It's interesting. It can be, both at the same time, a peaceful experience and a very stressful one, but that depends, of course, on the point of view. Now, we can see Thomas is already got a purple second sector, which won't really matter because this is an out lap, so yeah, he also invalidated the lap right now. And Falcon just got a fastest second sector as well. We're gonna go and look at him right now. He's following, I think that's Thomas, yes, I think it's Thomas, through the last corner, so I think we're gonna see probably some interesting lap times as they go through. So Thomas is really also going fastest. So let's see what kind of lap time they can give us. Not a big improvement, but still a very nice, a very nice lap as Thomas fucking dies in turn 1 and almost collects Falcon as well. So yeah, this is gonna be quite the thing, isn't it? So in the meanwhile, let me just do something real quick in the background. And oh boy, who do we have here? Matteo Catalan, the third contender for this race, and another known menace of the server. Now, if you don't know the Catalan, who is not a guy who cuts a lot of corner, but he's the one who cut a lot of lands, he is a very, very fast guy. And trust me, when I say fast, I mean like Alex Maggio levels of fast, Lopter levels of fast, Thomas is ready levels of fast. He is a menace. And the fact that he's here is gonna mean that we're gonna have quite an interesting battle for the lead, because at the same time, Lopter and Thomas proved, Lopter proved during the last race that he can be the menace. Thomas is proving right now with his lap times that he is something to consider. And Catalan, although you have seen nothing about him, I can guarantee you he is a menace, although he's driving without lights, and I think that's probably due to the fact that he doesn't have probably the key to turn on the lights, so he's probably gonna exit the server a little bit now and then come back once he has the keyboard set and done. Meanwhile, here a little bit of incomprehension between Lopter and Nezu, which ends up with Lopter getting ahead and Nezu following with with a little bit of a flash of the headlights. And yeah, what can I say? This is gonna go quite well, I think. Let me just have a little bit of a look in the meanwhile at Discord to see if there's something. Nothing too interesting, really. They're talking about the server, and as I look away, I go back and they see both of them racing into the night with no headlights, which is a little bit of a suicidal thing to do, but I mean, I should mention that rules say nothing about doing blind attacks here in this championship, so you know, we might see something during the race. No way to know. Catalan, meanwhile, is back and probably is gonna try and use the headlight now. Actually, let's go on board with him. Actually, let's have a look at this livery, because we haven't looked at it yet. And, well, if you are familiar with Race Room, you would know that this livery here is a reference, so actually straight up taken from Race Room. It's the C14-2 livery, to be completely exact. And, yeah, it looks quite slick, I think. It's a nice livery, it works well, and also has his motto on the rear wing, which is Unleash the Kate. So, as the Kate will probably be unleashed soon enough, we take a look at someone else who's driving. So maybe let's look at Falcon, who is driving once again without lights. Don't know if maybe it is me who is looking at the track without you know, maybe it's daytime from them and it's nighttime for me. Hopefully not, but if it is, then it's gonna be, well, quite interesting to look at this race, because we won't be able to see shit while they will. So yeah, hopefully this is just Falcon going somewhere in the grass for some reason, or maybe not. We shall find out soon. 2033 here in you know, what's this called? I always forget the name of this track, you know, it's called Sebring. I should remember that it's called Sebring. I should actually, you know, let me take a note real quick, write down Sebring and, like, I don't know, put it on the monitor, so every time I forget the name of the track, I'll just look at the note and say, oh yeah, it's Sebring, I almost forgot about that. But yeah, once again, I'm not sure if Falcon is actually seeing daytime, because if he is, then damn, like, I mean, let's take a look on board. This is what you should see without headlights, and I mean, it's not like you can't see, but at the same time, it's not really good not to, you know, see where you're going. Also, this is gonna be track limits, I'm sure of it, and yeah, I mean, he either has night vision, which is likely, I mean, not really, but it's surely interesting, as Darts also joins the server, so we have 12 drivers up now in this thing, and as we wait for 17 minutes to elapse to start qualifying, we take a look at Falcon racing with his headlights off, which, I mean, it's a little confusing, but I guess he doesn't have problems with his vision, which is scary, really. Let's stay on board with him for a little while. Let's actually enjoy the sound. Meanwhile, Nezu joins the chat just to say, call me Trigger the way in a dogfight over Miatas with no worries about safety whatsoever. That is exactly the spirit we want to bring here in this competition, so that is absolutely fantastic to hear. Don't know about you guys, but I can't see jack shit from his own board, so yeah, I don't know how he's doing this. I think he actually can see somehow. I think I'm gonna ask him after the race when there's the driver interview, if you actually do that. And yeah, interesting, very, very interesting. Maybe he's just that good. I mean, that would make sense. Actually, if I remember correctly, Falcon drives with the VR, so maybe, just maybe, with the VR you actually can see a little bit better in the night. No clue about that, but that is an interesting, let's say, hypothesis. Although I can see he's not pushing really 200%. Meanwhile, Vipersonic, Sector 1, purple, 51.7. Actually, let's go with him. Viper, thankfully, with his lights on. Let's stay on board. Actually, Thomas, also going fast in Sector 3, but still not... Oh, actually went into the pit lane, so I don't know why that's set as purple. So, yeah, strange. And, yeah, I think probably it's not registering correctly the purple sectors. That's a likelihood, although we don't know for certain. And, yeah, we're seeing purple sectors for no real reason. So let's have a look at Viper through this lux section here, where you go down to 3rd gear, hug the curbs here on the right and then on the left. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of purple sectors, which I don't know if they are true or not. I think it did a track limit there, I'm not too sure. I think he went a little bit over the curb. 2nd sector is a personal improvement apparently, but I'm not too sure about it. So let's actually go on the external cam and have a look at, well, both the spotter sector coming out for no reason at all, and Vipersonic braking hard for the last corner, stabilizing the car multiple times through the corner while letting his ass of MYASS slide through, and then of course getting onto the main straight to set maybe a new lap time. His last lap time was at 2:18 and now he's at 2:16.2, so that was not a bluff. He's actually driving fast as shit. So, yeah, we have a lot of contention here in this race. We have Vipersonic, we have Lapter, we have Thomas, we have Falcon, we have Catalan, although he has not set a lap time yet. We have competition, and we have doubts on who is gonna take the trophy for the first round of this championship. And let me tell ya, this is kinda exciting. I'm actually a little excited. I am getting very excited, to be completely honest. And hopefully you are too. And you should be. If you're not, then I'm gonna go find you. And that's gonna be a little bit of a problem, of course. But yeah, what can I say? Except you're welcome. And whatever else the song said. I'm gonna take, of course, a little bit of a break. Not break, a little bit of a breath. Here, because once again, 30 minutes of practice. I mean, it's not like it's gonna be too interesting. We can see actually, I think that's Kate. Oh yeah, it's Kate that came out of the pit lane. Let's actually take a look at him as he tries to get to grips with the car and maybe find a little bit of pace. Once again, I know he's a fast guy. We don't know how fast exactly, but he has some strong competition because Thomas, Lopter, and Vipersonics all lapping in the 16s. Also Falcon, of course. Let's not forget about him. And that can be quite something. Also, wind picked up. We can see there's 34 kilometers per hour or 25 mph of wind going south, which should be helping after turn 1 and after the hairpin, and not helping while going towards the last, penultimate corner, which is of course the one you can see on the top right. Actually, another cool thing I can do here is if I press space, I can actually show you like this, the place I was actually telling you. And right now the wind is going this direction, which is of course south. If you didn't know, this should be west and this should be east, while this is north, of course. And as I toggle, of course, this thing, we can see clearly how things are working. Actually, this is kind of cool. You can actually see stuff quite clearly. You can see how Catalan, which is the guy in the yellow thing here, is actually driving this direction here and doing funny stuff. This is the worst thing I could actually do. So yeah, my bad about that. It was fun enough. But that being said, with a little bit of drawing to wait for the next part, we can actually take a look at Catalan going through this part of the track and probably start his first flying lap. Actually, let's go on board with him. Let's see what he can actually do and have a look at the telemetry, which is on the bottom right of the screen, of course. Through the last corner, using an interesting line. Of course, it's very difficult to keep the grip here because there's a lot of bumps, which is a key feature of Sebring. And you know, when your car hits some bumps, you actually lose the rear of the car, or as we call it, the ass of the car. And for that reason, it gets quite difficult to actually turn the car as intended. As you can see, he's struggling a little bit. Also, it should be noted that, of course, during the night the weather gets a little bit colder. I don't have the information on the right, but it should pop up at some time. And when it does, you'll see that the track temperature dropped a little bit during the night. And yeah, difficult conditions, which will make for some interesting racing. Also, I didn't notice, but Viper actually went into the 15s with a 2:15.3, which is, well, one hell of a lap time if you ask me, of course. Yeah, this is gonna be interesting. Very, very interesting. Viper versus Falcon versus Lobder versus Thomas versus likely Catalan as well. Although we have to say that Kate doesn't really have a lot of training under his belt for this specific truck and car combination. So maybe he's not gonna be up there fighting, but still I wouldn't consider him out of the picture. So as he goes quite clearly through Sector 1, let's see what kind of Sector 2 he's able to pull. Currently it's just a green first sector, which, well, I mean, is still good. Let's see what kind of second sector he can pull out. I don't have the data, of course, for the sector times. We had them earlier, but I kind of forgot, of course. So let's see what kind of Sector 2 he's able to do. Sector 2 should finish right around here, likely. Actually, after this sequence of corners, so after this right-hander here, we have the cell, and I think he went a little bit over the line. I'm not too sure, though. Let's see, though. He is on the 146.2, which is kind of what I expect from what we've seen with the Viper, Falcon, and Lobder, of course. And let's see. Through the last corner, he's whipping a little bit. I'm not sure if that's lag or just him actually trying to get some heat into the tire, which may be both, really. Through the last corner, getting a very wide exit to actually get a better speed on the start-finish straight. And don't know if this is a valid lap time. I saw him going a little bit over the white line, but maybe it is. And it was not, I saw that correctly, so sadly this lap was not valid, but once again, let's have a look this time from the outside to see if he can actually put up a nice little fight for the lead here. Once again, 9 minutes now left to the end of practice, then we'll have 15 minutes of qualifying before the start of the race. And yeah, things are shaping up to be quite interesting. Right now also, as of lap times, we can see Nezu managed to get into the 220s, which is once again, as I expected, the kind of lap time we can expect from these cars. Darts in the 2:18.8, Atred in the 18.5, Forever in the 17.6. The only other person who doesn't have a lap time is Tits, which is, which as I can see from the track map, he's getting out of the pit lane, and well, I mean, likely trying to do a lap time, at least here in practice. Meanwhile, Catalan, 52.6 in Sector 1. Let's see what he can do. We saw it was a 146 point something during the last sector, if I remember correctly. Sorry, it's during Sector 2, sorry. And let's see if he actually improved compared to his last not valid lap time, or if he actually is going slower. Here through the very fast right-hander, going on the limit and not over it, so great car control from him. Let's see what he can do. Through this very tricky section, he's gonna have to brake quite early to make this through. And braking early he does. Oh, I think it's a little bit over once again, not too sure. Here this time he's in the track limits, at least on that part, but I'm not sure if he went over the line before, so we'll find out soon. 46.0, so he went surely faster. That's something we can surely assume here. And let's see how he's gonna handle the last corner once again. Here, braking very late as he lights up the night with the tail braking of this car. Getting close to the wall. Down onto the gas. And on the start-finish straight, let's see what kind of possibly valid lap time he has. Well, not one. It was a 2:16.0, which is technically valid enough for P2. So once again, if it wasn't valid for the track limits, you can see that he's up there with the pace to fight with the top dogs. So yeah, he's quite an interesting fellow. While he tries to get a fastest lap time, let's have a look at Tits, who hasn't yet finished a valid one. And as he understeers a little bit here through this section, he maybe is on a valid lap, I'm not too sure. Here, the leaderboard is not showing me his sector times, so maybe it's just on the out lap. But still, hopefully, we're gonna be able to see something from him as well. Through the last section now. Very on the limit there, but still what I should expect from such a racer. And I think he's starting the lap time. If we see him pop on the leaderboard, then it's for another reason, of course, but that's okay. Also, what's going on? Guys, if you like 2 more minutes, I may be able to make the start. Huh. So, do we delay? I think we can. We may actually get Alex Maggio in the server if we delay a little bit. So, I'd say, for a little bit of organization, I'm gonna answer. So, we may get Alex Maggio in the server, because he's coming back home. He has a little bit of a delay, let's say, to join. So, if we delay the start for 10 minutes, then we may be able to see Alex Maggio as well on this very competitive grid. So, we may actually have a showdown between Catalan, Viper, Falcon, Lobter, and of course Thomas is ready. That's something I was not expecting. But of course we gotta see, because once again I'm not really on the boss side of the server. The host is of course Forever, and although he asked me for organization stuff, he is the one who actually pulls the string, let's say. So if he agrees for the little bit of delay, and hopefully you can agree as well, we're gonna have of course a little bit of a delayed start, but which will end up with a better grid, better fighters, and of course a very interesting race in our hands. Also, just saw Kate having a little bit of a wobble with that 16.9 just set on the leaderboard, and chasing after Darts right ahead, who is here. lapping in the 2:18.8. I don't actually have the story of his entire stint, but likely that is the kind of pace he has. I know he actually can go deep down in the 17s. I know he has that kind of pace, but of course, racing, practice, and qualifying are all different stuff. And if we have to see something like that, we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer, of course. Okay, so other people are saying 10 minutes are later, and yes, we have the confirmation from the server that we may have a 10-minute delay from the start. So yeah, a little bit sad that we have to wait a little bit more for the start of this interesting event, but you can understand that it makes sense. As Darts loses the car and Catalan goes through fire and flames, we also have Nezu going right behind and getting as much experience as possible, chasing now after Darts, closing the corner more than him actually, but not optimizing the exit as much as Darts is, although Darts is, well, optimizing a lot of grass hopping skills really. And we wait. If of course I get disconnected from the server, you may guess that it's because the server is getting restarted, which it's likely at this point. And as practice rolls, as the night falls, it's currently midnight, of midnight, let's say, which I mean is of course the time here on the server, as you can see from the pitch darkness we have around. We wait for confirmations from the other guys in the upper ranks. Actually, who's the car ahead? Is Thomas? No, that's Nezu. So once again, Darts versus Nezu here in practice. A lot of cars in the pit lane as well, getting relaxed and ready, of course, for the race start. And oh boy, if Alex gets here, if Alex races in this, well, this is gonna be interesting. I kinda expect Alex to be able to win this race as well, because, I mean, you saw how fast he is. But still, I'm kinda curious to see how he compares to other drivers like, you know, Piper, Falcon, Lobter, Thomas, Catalan, and so on. So yeah, interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. And well, of course, if Alex goes to dominate the race, then it's no issue, because we can still look at the fight for P2, which looks like to be quite a fierce one, with the current grid, of course. And as we go, 1 minute and 30 seconds left, currently on the current clock, which may be resetted sometime soon. We wait. We wait for the qualifying, and we wait for this decision from the race direction, which technically is me. And current decision is, well, interesting, because they say, of course, they don't think the Hill's gonna be able to make it for the start of qualifying, so actually I think we're gonna stay on the current time. And yeah, we kinda hope to see Alex Maggio join in time. If he does, he's probably gonna start from last, which is gonna make things spicy, really. And well, weird decision. I mean, I should say that I would probably like to expect to extend stuff, but yeah, he says no. Actually, he agrees. He says that starting from last for him is fine, which is more fun for his kind of race. And the current decision from all the drivers is simply the phrase "MYASS is in agreement." So yeah, we have a deal, and with 20 seconds left on the clock, we wait for the start of qualifying, which is gonna be not in 20 seconds, but a little bit more, because we have, of course, a bit of cooldown and warm-up before the start of qualifying. So, as Nezu and Darts absolutely send it through the last corner, the clock strikes his last stroke, and we have ended practice, although we are in overtime. But this is the current leaderboard. We have Vipersonic leading with a 2:15.3, followed by Falcon, another driver in the 15s, and Lobter still in the 15s. Then we got Catalan in the 16.8, and Thomas is ready in the 16.9. Hackbuster in 6th place with 2:17.1, followed by Forever in P7, P8 for Adrid, P9 for Darts, P10 for Jason Short, P11 for Nessie, and last place with no time set for Tits. What can I say? If not, this is getting interestingly spicy, and is interestingly fire. We wait for the start of qualifying, of course. we look at Tits racing in the night, we look at Nesu waiting in the pit lane for the start of qualifying. The server announces that Maggio will indeed join us, but will start in last place, hopefully not from the pit lane. I hope not for him, because that would be maybe a little bit too much, although with the kind of pace he has, maybe he's gonna be able to recover. But still, very nice to see him here. And this is gonna be fire, surely. There's Tits going by. Let's have a look at him with a different camera. Actually, let's use the lower cam. Here it is. I haven't used other cameras as well. I think the upper one is a little bit better to see the action, especially during the race. But here with this lower one, we can actually admire the speed at which these Miatas roll through the corners around this track, and how much they slide actually, which is something you don't quite notice until you look closely. Because here in MYASS, we have everything you can need. And I think also this is a nice little kind of car you can use to have some easy racing for people who not enjoy driving hard cars. I think Miatas are a very nice entry point for MYASS, and as Tits loses the car and crashes out of the hairpin, hopefully he's gonna find a little bit of a groove and settle up time. Oh, actually he did! A 2:15.9, what the fuck, he's actually fast as fuck. Hold on lads, I think we may have written off Tits when we shouldn't, because that's one hell of a lap time. He's faster than Catalan currently. Oh boy, that's something to keep in mind, surely. That is indeed something to keep in mind. That is crazy. I was not expecting that. As much as I'm not expecting Falcon racing with no lights, I should actually ask him why the hell is racing with no lights once again. Literally, I should ask that, because what the fuck. I'm gonna ask real quick on the server. Okay, question been asked. Hopefully he'll answer, because I genuinely don't know how he's doing this. I am confused a little bit. Let's see if I get an answer. Viper is writing, so probably I get an answer from him instead. I'm gonna keep you updated, of course, here in the background. Skill. The answer is skill. So yeah, apparently he can memorize the track with his mind in such a well-mannered way that he can actually drive without looking at it. Or he just say you have pure settings to have the lighting of day, which, well, I hope not, because that would be a little unfair, but at the same time, I mean, it's okay. I'm not gonna enforce that too much, so yeah, we have a lot able to see through the darkness. Well, that still is running and going over time. That's what the hell are you doing? It's 2 AM in the night. We have to start qualifying and you are overextending it. Mate, get into the pit lane now and start qualifying, you dumb fucking idiot. Alright, so yeah, silliness aside, 2:17.0 is actually the kind of lap time I expect from him. He's a fast guy once again. And actually 2:17.0 is also the kind of lap time I used to pull while racing with him. So yeah, take that actually as my pupil, as the kind of guy I try to train to get into this event. So the kind of result he's getting is the kind of result I would get in this championship. So I'm personally cheering for him. And we go into the end of this part of the track. Sorry, this part of practice. Practice is over, qualifying is up next, and we have a clear leaderboard, as you can see, with Viper, Thomas, Falcon, Lobster, Tits, and Catalan racing for the top 6, and then Dartsack, Master, Forever, and Adriad, followed of course by E and Nessie, fighting for the other places, coming from P7 on. And then of course, when Maggio will join us, we will have some interesting fun. Also, don't forget, this is an endurance race, 1 mandatory pit stop. Fuel is going to be crucial in this race, and if people won't get their pit stop done correctly, well, there's going to be a lot of issues, of course, because if you don't have the fuel to get to the end of the race, then there's a bit of a problem, really. Let's get a little bit message for the drivers, which is going to be Catalan, Aura, Farming. There we go. And we wait now for the start of qualifying in 20 seconds time. Don't close your eyes, lads. Things are gonna get quite intense now for the position that really do matter. Actually, let me check real fast. Okay, they tell me that Falcon actually has the lights, and Catalan tells us he's absolutely cooked. I do not believe him though, so we go into qualifying. And it's daytime once again. And it's daytime. And people are getting out of the pit lane for the start of this intense qualifying session. Here, 14:03 in the midday. And Nezu is the first car to get out of the pit lane. So is Darts, so is of course Catalan right behind. So is basically everyone. Oh boy. Of course, a little bit of traffic. People will try to get tire heat into the tires. Get everything warm, getting a little bit of space, of course. And as there's a little bit of traffic jam here and a little bit of contact, which ends up with, well, Nezu kinda facing the wrong way of the track. We see everyone going by and Nezu getting into the pit lane and start once again. So, oh boy, this is gonna be the stuff, as we say. The stuff, the fight. And I get a ping on Discord, which I'm not gonna look at, although I'm looking at it right now. But let's ignore that. We are here at Sebring, the National Raceway. There's 5.8 kilometers waiting for drivers, 3 meters of elevation, and 15 minutes of qualifying, of course. And if you didn't know, this track is in Florida, and one funny little thing I know about this track is that it is quite close to the launch site for some rockets. And the way I know this is because if you look at the WEC highlights for the race that happened here, I think in 2023 should be, there was a little bit of a funny highlight of the SpaceX actually taking off during the race, which was actually captured in the broadcast. So yeah, that is something, if you ask me. Something quite interesting. Anyway, first person in this whole thing is Catalan. Still getting a little bit warm, of course, still doing his outlap. And last person in this whole thing is Jason Schott. We'll have to see how this whole thing goes. So let's stay with Catalan for the time being. And then have a look, of course, at the whole lap times, which are gonna rain down as the time goes by here in qualifying. They tell me to remember to hydrate during this whole event. I actually, you know, the funny thing is I got here my mug, which is an Aldi one, but I mean that doesn't I shouldn't do product placement like this, but that's another thing. And I forgot to actually make some tea, which is what I had in mind, but I mean I'm gonna get some water after the end of the qualifying, so that's gonna keep me hydrated for the entirety of 1 hour and something of racing that we're gonna face soon. So, Catalan, the first one to start. Of course, the lap times you see on the left are kinda fake because they are the outlap times, if they actually are registered, because you still can invalidate this, of course. And Catalan going through the first sector. Let's see what kind of time he can set. Let's go on board with him, actually. Through this first set of sections, of corners, let's say, of turns, keeping it quite steady, really, very nicely done. There's also a yellow flag behind. Thomas went wide, so I think we're not gonna see a lap time from him, and I think he's gonna actually, let me go board with Falcon, I think he's gonna have a little bit of an impact here with Lobter and Falcon, who are catching up to him. Not sure though, they seem quite close, but not too close to be in an issue situation. Let's go with the Chem 1, actually, to have a little bit of a look of this. Let's also have Catalan with the O-board on the left to be able to see him. My GPU will actually beg for forgiveness after this, but for a little while we're gonna have to do like this. And as they go through the latter half of the track, we can see how this can turn into an interesting fight. Currently, Falcon going through the first sector. He's a green sector, so not the fastest one through there. Catalan still instead going towards the last part of the track, as you can see on the left. Let's see. Let's see what he can do. What they can do, actually. This is actually turning out to be quite interesting, and Thomas decides to pull out of the way, so he knows that he is a little bit, of course, you know, in the way, especially after he invalidated the lap earlier with a yellow flag. But he is done quite nicely. Let's go back with Catalan, as he went a little bit wide and has a purple second sector. Of course, it's the first one, so likely he has. But as he goes through the last corner, the moment of truth, of course, getting wide, of course, to then close back in the exit, getting as close as possible to the right hand side, then down onto the gas. What is he doing actually? He's lapping with 4th gear, going 170, 80 kilometers per hour now, and he has a 217.6. Then, no valid lap for that. No, he has 236, but it's not a valid lap time. Vipersonic, no valid lap time as well. Then we go towards, sorry, got it wrong. We got Lobter going 216.9, so faster, and then 217.1 from Falcon. Then we have to see Hackbuster going P4 currently. Then Forever right behind, not getting a valid lap time. Then we got Adriet finishing his lap time with a P5 time of 2:18. Then we go to Tits, who is finishing his lap time, going very wide on the last corner really, but let's see what kind of time he can set on the board. And it is P9, although there is no valid lap time. And then Nezu right behind, closing the lap with a 2:22, so still a valid lap time. And then Jason Shaw, the last one of the bunch, a little bit unstable through the last corner, but closing his lap and getting, let's see what kind of lap time he has, if it's valid of course. Should be at 2:21.2. So P6 currently for him. We go back to Catalan, the first of the group, which is still trying to improve. I didn't see the first sector, but it's not purple, so not the best of course for him, but still I'm sure he will push on to see if he can actually reach the Magic 16s, also known as the Lands of the Gods here in Sebring. And as he goes through this very technical and fast section, he has to be very aware of the brake. He goes very nicely, not too much over the track limits, same here. Then on the right hand side here, close to the track limits on the exit, but it's good, and it's a purple second sector, 146.2, which is a little bit slower than he set in practice, but still purple, so very good for him. We'll see soon enough if someone actually beats him in the background, because we'll see of course the notification on the top left. But through the last corner, let's see if he can actually improve. Ooh, very wide here on the entry, so I think he lost a little bit of time compared to his optimal line through this corner. But his finishing lap time is gonna be 2:17.0, so P2. Then Darts close behind with Vipersonic close, 2:18.4. Very nice. Vipersonic though, 2:16.6. So very nice lap time. Falcon close behind, is gonna close the lap, but not improving. Lobter is not improving, but Thomas sets the fastest lap time of 2:16.4. Behind us, see a car going into the pit lane. Actually, I think there was a little bit of an issue. No, it's Hackbuster going into the pit lane, but we got Forever finishing his lap time, and he is not doing a fast, valid lap time currently. Adriet went, well, into the tire barrier for the pit entry, which is not really optimal. Then we got Tits finishing his lap time. Let's see if this time it's valid and if he can actually improve on what is technically nothing. And, well, he cannot really. Then we got, well, Forever. No, actually, the last time should be Lobter, but Lobter does not improve on his lap time. So, back to Catalan, leading the charge for the qualifiers. Here we have 7 kind-ish minutes left. And as we can see, everyone running as fast as possible. Catalan is doing his absolute best to push this car, this Miata, to the absolute limit here in MYASS. And as he goes through this right-hander here, which is a corner whose name I won't name because I generally don't know, he rushes towards the fast section of Sector 2, or the end of Sector 2. Through the left again, then onto the brakes and onto the right-hander, close to the limit, losing a little bit of the rear, but that's okay. Then on the left, keeping it inside the white lines, which is very important. On the exit, close to the limit, but not over it. Let's see the lap time. He's a little bit slower compared to the last time, so just 0.02 slower than his last lap. But still, very much close on the limit, and we know he went a little bit wide through the last corner, so he is likely yet in contention for a solid result here in qualifying. And as he goes through the last corner, maybe this time he's a little bit closer. No, he's still a little bit wide, strangely, or maybe that's the right line he's actually employing. Which is, well, considering the kind of last corner we have here in Sebring, could be the case. But he goes through the line and he sets a P3 time of 16.8, so very nice competition time. Behind, Vipersonic had a purple sector 1 and a purple lap of 16.2. Behind Darts, I don't think he actually improved, sadly. Then Falcon through the line P3, But Thomas, right behind him, 16.0. He improves and takes provisional pole position. Then, Forever.exe through the last corner, followed by Nezu, right behind. Let's see what kind of lap times they can pull out, if, of course, this is a valid one. Forever through the last corner, he improves to P9, 19.0. Nezu, through the last corner, doesn't improve, sadly. Then we wait for Lobter through the last corner. The ghost of the demo run, flying very high on the last corner. Does he improve? Does he go faster? I think it is a very fast lap time, and this it did, because it's the first 15 we see, a 15.9. So incredible lap time. Hackbuster right behind, through the last corner, ecstatic, going as fast as possible towards the finish straight, but I don't think that's a valid lap time. Yep, it wasn't. This was his out lap, so sorry about that. And Adriat, I think the same thing, is starting his actual lap right now. So, P10, Jason Short is actually finishing his lap, followed by Tits right behind. Let's see. Jason Short finishing his lap, very close to the wall, but 220 still is, and Tits starting his actual lap now. And that's gonna be quite crucial, because with 4 minutes left to go, he doesn't have a lot of time to, you know, joke around and find stuff. Meanwhile, server admin permission given to Forever.exe, which, I mean, makes sense, he should be the admin, really. And I don't know what they're doing. Actually, I'm gonna check real quick in the background. No, he's not doing really anything too crazy. I don't know why that has popped up like that, but yes. As we wait, we go back maybe to Catalan, as he's on the last straight. And, well, not improving, really. His current lap time is double yellow, and he's actually slowing down on the last corner, so probably he's getting ready for a last-ditch effort to try and do a fast lap. I wonder if he's actually doing brake tracking, which could be the case. Meanwhile, Darts overtakes him, goes a little bit too wide through the last corner. Has a little bit of an improvement in the first sector, but not a big improvement in the second. Let's see if the third sector makes up for such well, not great lap time, and the answer is not really. 19.4, still a very fast lap time. Now, we go towards Nezu, who is followed real close by Falcon, who is, well, not really going for a lap, but I think he's warming up the tires for a final attempt at a final shot at disqualifying, while Nezu, that's that's a slide and a half, if I've ever seen some, but he goes through the last section, and I think it's gonna be a 22 likely, 21.7, which is a lap time surely. Then we wait for Vipersonic right behind, who is starting his lap time as well, so a lot of people starting just now their last lap time. Hackbuster is not, instead he's actually pushing. He started his lap last time, and he's close to the wall, very, very close, and a little bit too close, because he hit the inside of that last critical corner, but he goes through the last section, and I think it's gonna be an 17.8, so very nice lap time. Edgered right behind, not improving on his lap time, but he's gonna try nevertheless, and it's an 18.8. Then we got Thomas, who's starting now his lap, so this is not a valid lap time. We're not gonna look at him too much, but we're gonna go take a look at E, or Jason Short, who is finishing his lap, which has some improvement, but not enough to actually not, it's not an improvement, so my bad on that. Lobter starting now his lap, and is followed close behind by Tits, who's trying to get a lap time in, but I mean, either the lap time down there is wrong, because I don't think he's gonna go for a 2:35 or 2:37, so he is currently starting another lap, and hopefully one that's gonna be inside the track limits, hopefully. Anyway, back once again to the Catalan, who is on the last straight, pushing for a lap. He's not there because he's 4 seconds behind, so we're gonna go instead to see Darts, who is improving in the second sector, so maybe, just maybe, he has found something here in this lap. Through the last corner, very wide, but preferably very wide. Staying very close to the right-hand side, and then down the gas. Let's see what kind of lap he can pull out. 16, 17, 18.0, so a little bit faster, but still not fast enough, and I think it's not valid because it's not on the leaderboard, so sadly for him, not the best. Meanwhile, Falcon is another driver who is getting close to the end of his lap, but still not improving. Fall right behind by Nezu, I think. Let's see, through the last corner. Getting a lot of brake, really. I don't know if that's the optimal way to do this corner, but still he's gonna try. And although I don't expect an improvement on a 216.6, he's gonna still try, and as the clock ticks down, he's an 18.5. Nezu behind, I saw him earlier. Here it is. Still gonna be 29, so nothing too big. Vipersonic behind, I don't see an improvement in his lap time. Behind both of them, Akbaster closing his lap. Second sector is an improvement, of course. Let's see if we can actually get something out of this as the clock ticks to 0. Not an improvement from Akbaster. Adrid right behind. Not showing me the lap time, but it's an improvement to 217.5, so incredible effort from him. Then Thomas is ready, right behind. Once again, not showing me the lap time, but I think he's on 1. But it's not an improvement if it is. P10E improves to P9 with a 218.5, so nice job for him. Then we got Lobder, once again pushing with Tits right behind him. Going very wide on the last corner. Tits, I think a little bit too wide, but he still keeps it outside of the wall. Lobder does not improve. Tits improves to a fucking P6, sorry, P3. So great lap by him, but let's stay with Vipersonic because he has improved Sector 1 with a purple sector. So let's have a look at him. Let's see if he actually can improve and keep this pace up to the end and possibly, you know, finish this qualifying with a possible pole position. No idea about that because Lobter and Tits are both in the pit lane. And currently the only last driver who's getting towards the finish line is Darts, followed closely by Catalan. So let's see both of them, if they are actually gonna try to improve their lap time or if they are actually stopping before the end of qualifying. Darts going through the last corner, staying very close to the right, while instead Catalan opts to go a little bit wider to gain a little bit of speed. Darts does not improve. Catalan improves to P5, so 16.5 for the Italian driver. Then Falcon right behind, pushing as hard as possible, followed close behind by Vipersonic, who, as we saw, has a purple sector, so danger close for him by the Polish driver. Let's see through the last sector, through the last corner, on the limit of grip, keeping the car close together as the sun sets here in Sebring for the qualifying. And Falcon, through the last bend, improves to P5 with a purple sector 3. But now, let's see Vipersonic, who had a purple sector 1, if he can actually shoot back. And he does, overtaking Titzer and taking P3 with a 16.0. We go back to Hackbuster on the last corner, seeing if he actually can improve. He is, of course, going as fast as possible, but I think he's going into the pit lane, so no improvement from him. And Thomas is ready, going on the limit on the last lap, maybe a little bit too much because he's sliding, and that's not gonna help his fight for the podium, or actually for the pole position. Let's see if he actually has a last shot, if he actually did enough to get a pole position. Time to beat 15.9, he gets a 16.001, so it's not enough, but still a very solid effort from him. So, currently on track we just have Thomas is ready and Darts, who are, well, I think still running, but qualifying is officially over. And, well, we got news from Alex telling us that, sadly, he won't be able to join because he's stuck in traffic. So, yeah, the battle for the win is now open between the other guys. And Nezu tells us, driving the track for the first time for 2 hours before the race is giving very obvious results. Well, Nezu, we can just commend your efforts for being here in the first place. And really, I just hope you're gonna be having fun in this experience, especially considering that you are the one with the last track experience of the whole grid. So, we don't expect too much, of course, but at the same time, we just hope that you're gonna have a little bit of a fun experience here and enjoy this as much as possible while it goes. So, as Darts closes the last corner, I don't know if he's actually gonna close the lap or going to the pit lane. I think he's gonna try and improve once again. The time has hit at 0 a long time ago, but he's still gonna try and get something, but he doesn't get anything. And same thing for Thomas, who is still running, and I don't know if he's able to improve or not. As soon as we get the end of qualifying, I am gonna go get some water, because my trough is dying already, which is interesting, of course. And then, of course, we're gonna get ready for the start of this incredible Sebring qualifying. Anyway, have fun, Nezu, of course. I see that you have fun, so that is, of course, brilliant, if you ask me. And here, as the sun sets, I'm gonna go take some water real quick and be back soon. And what a sight, lads. As the sun sets here in Sebring, we wait for the dawn of a new day, and we wait for what's gonna be probably an intense hour and a half of racing. Lobter starts from pole position, followed by Thomas, and then Vipersonic completes the podium position. Then we got Tits, Falcon and Catalan, followed by Edrid, Hackbuster, Dots, and Jason Short. Following the last part of the grid, we have Forever and Nessie, starting in last place in P12. Of course, gaining experience more than anything else here in this race. 20 seconds left to go to the grid round down, and the excitement is an absolute limit. Man, I am excited. I don't know about you. It's gonna be quite interesting. It's gonna be quite intense, and it's gonna be quite the challenge for everyone, really. And as the countdown goes to 0, Jason Short actually left the session, hopefully comes back as soon as possible. And we go to the grid, I go to the pit lane, of course, and we have 2 minutes and 30 seconds left before the start of the race. I just hope that Jason Short joins back before the start of this whole thing. And yeah, what a sight we have here. Thomas, Lobter, Viper, Tits, Falcon, Hackbuster, Catalan. Catalan here? Yeah, it's a little bit off actually. You should know that here the starting places are a little bit off, and oh, I just read that Short, his game crashed. And let me just write him real quick that he can join. I think it can. Oh, actually he joined back. Okay, he managed to do that. Let's hope that's the last mishap he has with a technical point of view with Assetto Corsa, which is known to be very stable as much as I don't know, a pig flying. And as Jason Short thankfully is on the grid, you may notice that although Lobter got pole position, he's starting on second place. That is because he's a little bit behind Thomas is ready, but starting crucially on the left-hand side of the grid, which is, if you're wondering, the one that gives the inside for turn 1, of course. Now, I'm searching for an interesting camera, but I think I'm gonna start with this one on the top. And as we wait for the start, which is gonna happen in a minute, really, we are waiting for what's gonna be 1 hour and 20 minutes of very intense racing. Engine getting louder, of course. And one other interesting thing, we don't know the fuel loads of everyone. Hopefully everyone got a strategy running, because if they didn't, then this is gonna be, well, a little bit underwhelming for them. But that's also the fun of endurance racing. Strategies getting together, people getting together, everyone sharing the same track at the same time, and everyone finding a way to get through a very long and intense race. 35 seconds left to go. Are you ready, lads? Well, the guy who is revving the engine surely is. And as I get my headset a little bit better on, I take a deep breath. We all take a deep breath. And we wait for the 5 red lights to come on. 10 seconds left. And we are ready for the start of round 2 of MYASS. 5 red lights are on. And the endurance race is go. Nice start from Thomas, followed of course by Lobter, who's keeping up the inside. Cold tires into turn 1. Who is gonna be able to survive this first turn? Thomas currently a little bit ahead compared to the 86 of Lobter. Into turn 1, everyone very close, but Lobter keeps the inside and manages to get back into position, but goes a little bit too wide, and Thomas gets into P1. Vipersonic right behind manages to get into position, and Tits also takes advantage of this, gets down the outside into the second corner. Everyone compacted into this section, and Tits has the better out of everyone and manages maybe to overtake Vipersonic as well. On the outside there's Catalan and Lobter having a little bit of a fight behind, while in the meanwhile Thomas is running away. Everyone going side by side towards the hairpin. Who is gonna be able to break the later? Currently Tits manages to get a little bit ahead, but I think Viper will try and dive down the inside of hairpin. Let's have a look. He goes on the inside on the brakes, but he brakes very early. Cold tires, and Catalan goes down the inside. There's contact, and Tits is spun wide. Not really, there's double contact, and Tits is officially dead. Tits is dead, and Falcon in all of this somehow manages to get into P2. That was something, but Tits now into last place has a work and a half to do, so this is gonna be a quite intensive recovery drive to do. Meanwhile, let's go to Forever and Darts fighting full position here for P6, while Falcon runs away from Catalan, and ahead there's a battle also between Lobter and and Vipersonic. Let's have a look at that, of course, and also have maybe an onboard from Forever on the right hand side, battling with, of course, Darts, and also I think that's Nezu. Nezu getting on the inside and getting maybe the better out of the two of them. Meanwhile, Lobter manages to overtake, of course, Vipersonic, and is he gonna be able to keep the position? Vipersonic being very insistent on the outside, but I think he's gonna have to leave this one be, or maybe not, on the break. Everyone on the limit, but I think the 86 is ahead, and is gonna be able to stay ahead, because now on the right hand side there's gonna be a heavy braking zone, but he's able to stay there. Now let's close the onboard from Forever and have a look maybe behind, because I think the battle behind us, I was going to say ended, but Darts goes a little bit too wide and Nezu takes position and climbs up into P8. So interesting stuff there. Now, back into the top dogs. We have Thomas leading with 3 seconds worth of advantage from Falcon, Catalan and Lobter. And as Viper goes a little bit wide, Adriat with a, well, very silent but still very nice race start, racing in P2. In the meanwhile, also, we lost Tits, overtaking now Hackbuster and trying to start his, you know, recovery drive to get back into the position he's lost at the start of the race. So now up into P10, next target is gonna probably be Darts, and is he gonna be able to recover? Well, it's a long race, so only time will tell. So, whew, what a race start, real lads. Only 1 lap, not even 2 minutes of this entire ordeal. Oh, and there's Darts having a little bit of a mistake, a big one actually, and losing every single place and dropping down to last place, but still fighting back and trying to get E on the braking, and he does, so he manages. Let's go back to Vipersonic though, because he's attacking the 86 here up ahead. Let's see, Viper, he's gonna be able to try maybe a maneuver, to try something, maybe dive down the inside of the 86. He is very late on the brake, getting on the curb, very nice exit, but I think it goes a little bit too much eagerly on the throttle, and the Lobter manages to do a very nice switchback and get back into P4. All the while, Catalan chasing down Falcon, and both of them chasing after Thomas and gaining actually half a second in this lap. So this is gonna be not so straightforward as it off, because although Thomas has got a very nice advantage over the car following him, I think he's gonna have quite a lot of work to do to be able to keep up with Falcon and Catalan right behind, who is chasing down with a very nice, I think, pace. We're gonna find out, of course, later when they go through the last section. In the meanwhile, Vipersonic catching quickly Lobter is gonna be able to maybe try something, not really too sure. I'm having a look at the gaps, and I see also there's a battle between Nezu and Jason Short, but we're gonna have a look at that maybe later. Actually, let's have a look like this, so we can take a look at both fights. And there's a little bit of a track limit from the 86, but that's, you know, everything is allowed in MYASS, so everything is okay. And as they go, everyone as they were before, I can see Nezu going wide and having a fight with E right behind here. Let's see what they can do, and I just noticed Teats actually improved up to P8 silently, so I didn't notice that, but he also overtook Hackbuster and Darts. Actually, no, I did. It was at the start of the lap, so my bad on that. And as they battle, I'm having a little bit of a look at Lobter here, because he's chasing Catalan and he's staying very close, so you can have a look at the left side, while we have a look here at Nezu versus Jason Short on the last corner. Ooh, very close, very on the limit and very close to the exit wall, which ends up destabilizing E a little bit, or maybe a little bit. And as he goes towards the next corner, I also saw a battle between Darts and Hackbuster, who there's a lot going on track. As Darts overtakes Hackbuster, I think we're gonna go back to Lobter, because he's chasing after Catalan. And let's go on board with him actually, as he fights the power with the number 86. He's gonna be able to find a way through. Here at the hairpin probably is the best overtaking spot he can actually find. Let's see if we can actually have a little bit of a look, or maybe a little bit of a late braking maneuver on this section of the track. It's still early in the race, just 6 minutes have elapsed, but still, this is absolute fire. He goes instantly down to second gear, so that's his braking technique, which is interesting to say the least. But he's not able to complete a maneuver, and Vipersonic actually loses a little bit of ground to the two of them, but still stays in contact. So it's a long race, we're gonna see a lot of stuff, and meanwhile Darts has a maneuver on Hackbuster, but I think he exited the hairpin a little bit slower, and the Hackbuster is fighting back, and probably is gonna be able to get back into P... Is it P9? Yes, I think it's P9, quite easily, but Darts still fights back into the braking zone. He's gonna be able to stay there. Yes, he is trying to stay ahead. He's able to stay ahead. Also, let's keep Lobter here on the left, and he is gonna try and stay ahead, of course, of the mist of Hackmaster. He goes a little bit too wide though, and Hackmaster gets back into position. So, well, this is truly a fight. Not the one I was expecting, but still a fight. And as this one goes through, I think I'm gonna take a look now at Lopter versus Catalan versus Falcon versus a very fast Thomas is ready. Strategies still, of course, left in play, but I feel like this is gonna turn into a classic as it is right now. Very fast drivers on the top of the fields fighting each other for the race win, now that the points are double and now that everyone can fight for literally everything. Through the last corner, everyone gripping as much as possible the tarmac, which is not tarmac, but it's literally cement here in Sebring. And as Thomas is ready, sets a purple lap time. No one is able to reply except Catalan, who goes a little bit faster, although we don't know really exactly how much. Actually, we can have a look. 2:16.6 from Catalan. Now, let's go back to the, the actual intervals. There we go. And we can have a look at this three-way battle between Catalan, Falcon, and Lopter, who braced very late into the section. Ooh, that was close, really. Let's have a look at Catalan, really. He's trying to find a way through Falcon, likely. And I think if he has this kind of pace, he may actually try and fight for the win. Also, I think Nezu has a little bit of an accident, because I can see he's 10 seconds behind the group, so likely he lost the rear somewhere in the track, not surely where, but that can happen. As we said before, he's the one with least experience with this car, and especially with this track, so we can, forgive him for having a little bit of mistakes here and there. Meanwhile, also Tits chasing forever and fighting currently for P7. A really sad, moment for the start of the race, but still, we said before, I think he has the pace to at least get into P6. Then from P6 onwards, it's gonna be, well, very, very difficult to get into an interesting position to fight maybe for the win. Meanwhile, Lopter instead, very close to Catalan. He's gonna be able to try something. He is trying to get a look, but Catalan gets a little bit defensive, and Lopter doesn't find a way through, but he's having a little look on the outside here. I don't know if it's gonna be enough. It's gonna be difficult, but surely the exit was enough to get him side by side with him. And let's see, through this next right-hander, a little bit of contact of a love tap between the two of them, but with a braking zone, a very nice one, he gets through. Catalan, he's gonna be able to fight back. Will he fight back, actually? I don't think he really does want to, but Lopter gets a little bit off with the exit, and Catalan is able to go side by side towards the last corner. Who is gonna be able to win the interchange or the exchange, actually, in the last corner? Falcon trying to get a little bit of slipstream to one of them. Very, very clever from the German driver. But now, into the braking zone, Lopter is gonna be able to brake very late, but not as late as Catalan, who's gonna able to keep the inside and maybe the position. Let's have a look at the exit. Catalan is able to stay there, but I think Lopter will have a little bit of a better exit. Meanwhile, Thomas hammering the laps down, and getting up to 4 seconds. Catalan still purple despite the battle with him, which is very impressive, if you ask me. And now, towards turn 1, still battling each other, and still Catalan getting ahead, but still Lopter trying to stay there, getting on the outside, which is going to be, of course, the outside for this turn number 2, and Catalan very aggressive on the defensive, but very nice and smart driving from him, and is able to keep P3 close and tight. And now the chase for Falcon gets back on, as there's 5 seconds basically between them and the leader. Also, meanwhile, behind, Forever Tits and Adrit still together, but still no big, let's say, no close gaps, so we'll have a look at them later, maybe when the gaps go a little bit down. Meanwhile, this trio giving us one hell of a fight. One, as we say in Italy, a triello. And this is turning out to be a classic, as we said before. The sun is already setting, is 17.50, which is, sorry, 15. Once again, I'm really bad at reading time, so sorry about that. And there's a 14 kilometers per hour wind going southwest, which once again should help. In another section, oh, very wide. Oh, very wide from Falcon, and Catalan takes the occasion to try and overtake Falcon. He's gonna be able to close the maneuver. Falcon is gonna try and fight back, but I'm not sure if he's gonna be able to. No, he's not. Catalan goes a little bit defensive to avoid getting overtaken back, and Catalan gets into P2. And now the chase for the lead is on for the Italian driver. Oh boy, a little bit of a mistake, a little bit of a braver from Falcon was all he needed to get into this, position that was very, very difficult for him to how can I say this, to work on, let's say, to keep track. Oh my god, everyone is going wider, but that's to be expected in a very long race. And as Lopter is flashing Falcon very strongly, maybe just to tell him, hey, I can maybe chase Catalan. I don't know what Falcon will do. I expect him to keep up pace, to try and keep behind Catalan, and maybe re-overtake him if he makes a mistake as well. Meanwhile, other close battles on track. I think this is the closest one. No, it's not. There's Tits versus Adriet. I missed the overtake on Forever, sadly. And he goes through as Adriet goes wide in the last corner. So Tits up to P6, and now he has a 5.6 seconds gap to Vipersonic, and meanwhile Falcon tries a maneuver in turn 1, and I think it's maybe gonna carry on in the exit. Let's stay on board with him actually. I think it's a little bit too far away to try a maneuver here, but let's stay on board with this entire section, because if he can stay close, especially towards the braking zone for the hairpin, he may try and do a maneuver, a very hard maneuver that may get Catalan into a difficult position. And he is indeed close, so let's see if he's gonna be able to break on the limit, try something and get Catalan into a defensive position. Catalan is, I think he's defensive, yes he is indeed. He goes on the outside, breaks, but Catalan doesn't want to give an inch on him, and here they both give an inch in MYASS Racing. And as we go towards the next section, Falcon is trying everything to stay close to Catalan. Both very equal on pace and both giving the limit. Instead, behind, I can actually see Vipersonic getting close to Lobter as well, and at the same time, there's also Darts getting close to Forever, so Forever probably had a little bit of a mistake. So the battle is split, because we have a midfield battle for P6, really, and then the battle for the lead, which is currently underway, and currently mainly for P2, between Catalan, Falcon, Lobter, Vipersonic, and Thomas is ready. Through this section, oh, Falcon has a lot of trouble going through this section, really, I have to say. Also, I saw Hackbuster getting lost, I think, in a position. I'm not sure. Not sure here what happened. I think I saw a change of position, but let's not concentrate on that. Let's go back with Falcon, chasing after Catalan, and he is giving everything, really, to try and stay close to him. But the real question is, they're giving everything. Is it gonna be enough to chase and get back into position to Thomas is ready? That is the real question we have here. Still a very long race, 1 hour and 5 minutes basically left to go, and well, everything is still yet to be decided. We can also see Tits behind, extending from Adriet, but we can also see Darts, which has overtaken Forever, getting to chase after Adriet as well. So yeah, as I said, there is an interesting battle here, and Thomas 16.4, what an incredible pace he has here in race stream. Catalan cannot answer, neither can Falcon, so Thomas is a menace and a half. Let's go back to Lobter, who has extended a little bit this gap to Vipersonic, who is probably struggling a little bit to keep up pace with top 4, but still keeping very close and tight in 2 seconds from Lobter, so I wouldn't exclude him from the race as well, because he can show and he can be a very fast driver. So we shall keep an eye on him. And I saw I saw Tits making a big mistake. He was in P6 and he has dropped down to P9. I think he had a mistake in turn 1. Not sure what happened really. But once again, another big mistake from Tits, which is gonna hurt him quite a lot. Once again, job not done. He has to recover positions and get back into P6, while Forever, Dots and Adriet are the guys ahead. Adriet already out with the lights, having probably a little bit of trouble seeing with the lights getting lower, of course. Here is a little bit later, of course, and the pit window is open, and as it's open, we go back to Falcon fighting with Catalan. Actually, let's go both with Catalan with the rear wing of the car, if I can actually get the view. There it is. Also Lobter, I think Lobter got a little bit closer. I think he got a little bit of pace back into the car, and he's chasing back into this position to fight for P2. Meanwhile, Kate trying everything he can to keep Falcon at bay and keep Lobter at bay as well, because he's getting closer. That 86, that rate 86, inspired of course by the livery of Kanata Rivington from MF Ghost, is getting closer and can be both of them over the track limit, so that's a way to say that they are both pushing, but still nothing is over, and Falcon is close indeed. So as they ride into the sunset, as I see once again a flash from Lobter, who is gonna be able to fight into this last corner? Is it gonna be a fight actually, or are they gonna stay very close together and fight later on in the lap? Right now, both struggling very lot on the grip, and Catalan goes wide. Falcon takes the occasion to drop down the inside, and it's gonna be side by side towards the start-finish lane. If this is the end of the race, this could be one interesting photo finish, but currently Catalan just a little bit ahead. Lobter in the meanwhile, fastest lap to 15.9, so incredible lap from him. But they go into turn 1, Catalan once again keeping the inside and allowing no one to get through except Falcon, who's gonna try and get a look on the outside of turn number 2. But once again, Catalan very defensive, able to keep him behind and able to run still in P2, but getting ever so slightly away from Thomas, who is extending his gap to 6.4 seconds ahead. Whew, interesting race. 48 minutes left in the pit window and 1 hour and 3 minutes left in the race. And the sun is getting lower and lower and lower, of course. Soon enough we're gonna enter the night phase of the race, and at that point that's gonna be, well, quite a lonely time for everyone, but still a very interesting time for every single fan of endurance racing. And if you are a fan of endurance racing, you know what I'm talking about. Let me get some air into my lungs as we wait and see these two medlets going into the next section. Actually, let's go into cam 1. I think this is the lower cam, actually, not cam 1. But let's have a look at a little bit of an action footage from the ground of these three cars fighting each other as hard as possible. Through this section, going a little bit wide, I think Falcon is a little bit under pressure from the 86. I think he is indeed. And there behind we can see Viper getting a little bit of trouble trying to stay close to them, but still trying his absolute best. Instead, I think he lost a heap of time. He is currently in P9, and on the map he's a lot of time. He's a lot away from P8 and P7, so maybe he did another mistake. Things are not getting good from him, but I know that he is kind of good in the night stint. Oh, what the hell is going on here? Oh, there's a battle. Lobter managing to fight with Falcon and a little bit of a lob tap on the straight, which, I mean, was a little bit of unnecessary, but that's okay. And they both go into the last corner. Lobter opting to go in the inside as fast as possible, but Falcon trying to stay as close as possible right behind. But I think Lobter is going to be able to complete the maneuver, and he is able indeed. So, as they go towards the start-finish straight, everyone still close to each other, and Catalan still somehow in P2, but not closing the gap to Thomas is ready. Falcon going a little bit wide in turn 1, not able to close to Lobter, who has a lot of loss of control. Is he gonna be able to keep it? Oh no, he's not. He's gonna slide very far and into the wall. Oh boy, that was such a good racing going for him, and he made a huge mistake into turn 2. And now he's down to P4, and probably Viper is gonna get close to him, although he's not as close as I thought it would be. So yeah, he's now lost into the night, and he has to regain back all the time he's lost, which is 3.6 seconds, to these two who are still deciding who is gonna be the one ahead. Falcon, who for some reason is able to race in the night without lights, which is a little bit confusing, but apparently is something he knows how to do. He's gonna try and do his best to, you know, chase after Catalan and possibly after the lead, who is once again running away. And as the night falls here in Sebring, we have 1 hour left, and still everything yet to be decided, especially for these positions, P2, P3 and P4. Also P5 at argue, but that's of course to be seen. Also, reminder that there's still a pit stop left to be done, so strategy is gonna play a role in this whole thing. And I hope that people here realize that there's gonna be a strategy and got something ready, because otherwise things are gonna get a lot sillier than it should be. So while these two go through this section, let's go on board once again with the behind camera of Catalan as he goes wide through the last corner, and that's gonna give a little bit of a run to Falcon. Let's see if Falcon can actually try and challenge into the last corner, or if he's gonna wait and hopefully live to fight for another day. It's getting closer, of course, but into the braking zone. I think they're gonna stay like this. Maybe Falcon getting a little bit eager on the gas was gonna hurt him a little bit on the exit, but the gaps stay pretty much the same. This is a very high pressure situation, and I would keep an eye on Lobter as well, because here behind he, despite the mistake, has recovered up to 2.3 seconds, so he has some serious pace. And I would argue he could actually chase really after the lead of the race if he actually can lock the fuck in. Meanwhile, Falcon had a little bit of an off through turn 1, and now, with dirty tire, probably will struggle a little bit through this section. While instead, Lopter climbs the curbs, rides through this section nicely without touching too much excessive curb. Very much on the limit, very much nice here. And he chases after the invisible driver here in the night, which is of course Falcon. Also, Adriet, I think he had a mistake. Yes, he did, and Forever got the position on him. So the first big mistake from Adriet is gonna drop him a little bit behind and probably get him a little bit closer to Tits, who is struggling a lot on this track, and Hackbuster, who is also struggling. But not as much as, of course, Jason Short, who is, well, 18 seconds behind and trying his best to find some pace here, and Nezu, who is enjoying his ride here in the night, and possibly enjoying his experience with these Miatas for the first time. Back to Falcon, chasing by Lobster, and chasing Catalan, of all three of them chasing after the leader, Thomas is ready. I argue that I want to take a look at Lobster, because he is the fastest of the three, as it looks, and he's chasing the Ghost, who is behind this tree, which you can barely see because he has no lights in the middle of the night, which is, well, difficult to see, but at the same time scary, which is kind of in character with what Falcon is really in racing. And as Lobster, well, finds a way to get him to gain time in a little bit of an unconventional way, he chases after Falcon, and let's see if he can actually try and find a way to get through. Falcon completely invisible here as we descend into the darkness of night here in Florida. Can he actually try and find a way through? No clue. Actually, I wonder, if I go on board with them like this, can he see the fuel loads? I'm not sure. Let's take a look at the dashboard, which should be right down there. We have speed, we have lap times, we have oil. I don't think we have fuel though, so yeah, we'll have just to wonder for the fuel, for what kind of fuel loads they have, and of course what kind of strategy they can deploy for this race. Once again, strategy, a big talking point, let's say, to see what you can invent, because if you run with lower fuel, of course you're gonna be faster. If you run with higher fuel, you're gonna go lower, slower in the first stint, but then faster in the second, and so on. So there's a lot in play, and of course a long night ahead of us. 56 minutes left in this endurance, and as you can see, Falcon's struggling to keep up pace with Catalan, as Catalan is still 9 seconds behind Thomas, who I don't know what kind of pace he's pulling. Let's actually have a look real quick. I actually skipped, sorry, my bad. He is running 16.5, while Catalan 16.9, and 18.1 from Falcon, which I think like is more of a mistake on the last lap, followed by Lopter, lapping currently in the 16.5. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. This is a race. Let's see if Lopter can find a way through. Actually, let's go on board with him as he chases Falcon down in the middle of the night, who has a little bit of a slide, which is not gonna help in this section. But if I have to wonder, he's probably gonna try and do a maneuver into the last straight. That's of course if I have to guess. Ooh, Falcon goes wide and somehow manages to keep a nice exit here on the last part of the track. Now through this left-hander, let's see who brakes earliest. There we go, nice braking. Who avoiding to step out with the S of MYASS. And as they go through the right-hander, is Lopter be able to have a run? Yes, he is, but it's gonna bump draft Falcon and live to fight another day. But I feel like he's gonna try probably a maneuver. He's gonna probably try something soon. So let's keep an eye on the, well, only visible driver of the two, because the other one is completely silent and in darkness and probably avoiding to be seen at all, like a stealth fighter slicing through the radars. Through the last corner, very close, both of them. Lopter, I think, is gonna have a run this time into turn 1. Let's have a look. Yes, he is. Getting side by side, wider, faster and louder, and now braking into turn 1, currently right now. And he's able to get through, although I feel like he maybe overshoot it a bit. And yes, through the darkness, here comes back Falcon and gets back into P3. Nice little fight between the two very fast drivers of the MYASS Championship. In the meanwhile, the rest of the grid is a little bit split up. The only close gap I can see is P8 to P9, so Adriet to Tits, which is getting closer, of course. But this, the one we are looking at, is currently the closest fight we got on track, and a very fun one, I gotta say. Can't really explain why Falcon is racing, but I mean, if you can see the truck in pitch darkness, then I guess good for him. A little bit of a loft up on the braking, but everything is good in MYASS, so it's okay. And as they go through, they are kind of losing Kate, who actually gained a little bit of time. He's 8.1 seconds now to Thomas, who, well, is still running in his groove. Actually, let's have a look at the lap times. The last lap was a 2:18.0, so probably a mistake from the leader Thomas. Meanwhile, also a mistake from Falcon, who gets closer to Lopter. But yeah, as Lopter is pressing ever so slightly more Falcon into a mistake, he's hoping that he's gonna be able to find a way through and fight and chase after the Catalan, the menace, the Italian screwdriver, which is something I just made up at the moment. Oh, into the braking, he gets very close, but not enough to actually give him a loft up on the rear. And through the right-hander, they go. And through pitch darkness, very nice exit from both of them. I wonder if actually Lopter got a better one. Hard to tell here. And he goes for a blind attack as well. So, pure darkness. No one can see the other. Light flash in the night. And as he turns on the light, he goes down the inside. And ooh, what an aggressive maneuver that was. But an aggressive maneuver that worked. So, heads off to the number 86, who manages to pull off a blind attack. And now racing after Catalan. Will Falcon be able to retaliate, to fight back and maybe find a way through into turn 1? Hard to tell. He got a little bit of a car whiff between him and there. But through turn 1, he's able to keep currently positioned. Hard to tell where Falcon is through the darkness. I can just see the outline, but he's not able to fight back. Meanwhile, the wind has picked up a little bit. It's now 22 kilometers per hour going southwest, so that's gonna be a little bit of something to keep in mind for the cars, because although they are not very aerodynamic, wind still does a little bit of a favor. And I think Tates has a little bit of a moment. I'm not sure. I saw something flash down before. Not sure about that, but yeah, as wind picks up, they're gonna be able to probably set up some better lap times. And now the current gap between Lopter and Catalan is 3.3 seconds. A little bit of a drift and ooh, a little bit of a wide moment, I think, from Kate. I saw some dirt being picked up, and it's gonna be very difficult to see where Falcon is, because as you can see, in pitch darkness, he's basically invisible. So yeah, we're gonna just have to wander, keep an eye on the intervals really, and hope that we can catch a glimpse of him when it matters. Right now though, still 50 minutes to go. Very long race, of course, but still very intense. Still a lot of left to play. And Catalan actually went below the 8 second for a split moment. And I think it's either gaining on Thomas, or maybe is Thomas running a little bit slower for now. Hard to tell, of course. But as the wind picks up, the racing picks up as well. And yes, invisible, I say. We go to Adred. Oh, I think it's Adred, the one I missed, because he's down to P10, so probably he had a mistake. And yeah, he's struggling a lot. You can see how hard it is to drive in darkness, and of course with these cold conditions, of course the temperature dropped in the middle of the night, so it's gonna be hard to have grip in the car. And yeah, I mean, my heart goes to him, of course, for the difficulties of this situation. But, you know, mistakes and situations that are hard and difficult is what makes us stronger, so I'm sure it will bounce back stronger, especially when the sun will rise up once again. Currently 10 p.m. here in Florida, and the race is still long. Very, very long. Here we go to the leaders. We can see all of 3 of them racing towards turn 1 with Falcon. Let's go actually to another camera. Racing in complete and pitch darkness. We are able to see him just the few times he goes through the lights. And then, of course, Lopter absolutely flying with his number 86, chasing after Catalan, and I expect him to be able to catch him and have a fight with him in the, I don't know, probably next 2 or 3 laps. So I personally keep an eye on him, while also keeping an eye on the rest of the grid, which although is very, very separated by big gaps, he's still fighting for something. So, as we are not yet halfway through the race, I mean kinda almost halfway through, we can have a look at the leaderboard. Thomas is ready, currently leading with 7.7 seconds, followed by Matteo Catalan in P2, then Lopter in P3 chasing after Catalan, Falcon losing a little bit of pace now in the night and falling down to P4 and closer to his rival in P5 Vipersonic. Then P6, exceptional job for the midfield from Dots, followed by Forever. Then Tits, Hackbuster, Adriet, and then of course in P11, P12, Jason Short and Nessie, who is of course leading the cart as Massimo. I can do it. Learning the car as much as possible. Ooh, I saw a yellow flag actually to P9. Let's have a look. I think there's something happening here. Not sure what happened. I saw a yellow flag and Hackbuster managed to overtake Hadriot. That was very brief. But I feel, yeah, this is another very close battle we have right now. But Hackbuster currently in P9 and running away. Back to Lopta, chasing after Catalan in the night. Let's go on board with him actually. This is the kind of things you see in the night. Just the lights of your car, the truck, and your own intrusive thought telling you what to do. Into the last corner, very much on the limit of grip. And they all go through towards the start-finish straight. 1.0 the gap towards between them actually. And yeah, it's no secret that Lopter seems to be faster than Catalan at the moment. We'll still keep an eye on him. But while this happens, I actually want to have a look at Adred as well, because he's behind Hackbuster. Both of them trying to chase back after Tits. Oh, and Thomas! Thomas went wide. Yellow flag in turn 1. Also, Catalan went wide. There has been a plethora of yellow flags here. What the hell happened in just a few moments? Is it because of the wind? It must have been the wind. Oh boy, here in MYASS, everything is getting fired up. And as you can see, Lopter now is very close to Catalan. He's gonna be able to dive down the inside at the hairpin. I don't think he's gonna be able to, because he's a little bit too far away. Catalan, ooh, locks up the brakes, and he gets a worse exit to the 86. And now both of them fighting, going probably side by side. Yes, they are. We can just see the smiley face of the Miata, but they are fighting. What a shot! Two cars in the middle of darkness fighting for position. And as this happened, the gaps to P1 goes down to 5.8 seconds, and Lopter, with a daring outside maneuver, overtakes Catalan and now is on the chase for the lead. Oh man! What a situation we've just seen. What a situation. Now Catalan, down to P3, has the red mist of Lopter right ahead of him, and he has to find something if he wants to get back into P2 and probably in the fight for the lead. 46 minutes left to go. The night is still long. We are not even at midnight here in Florida, so things are getting exciting. Very exciting. A little bit wide there for Lopter, and yes, a bit out of the track limits, and as you can see, Catalan answers right away by cutting the corners as well, but still not gaining a lot. And ooh, as they tip a little bit of the tires into the dirt, they go towards the last corner. Ooh, Catalan now, I don't know if he's gonna keep this away, and I think I saw Tits getting a yellow flag. Was that Tits? No, actually it's Forever, sorry, my bad. Forever got a yellow flag and is falling behind and getting catched quite easily by Tits, Hackbuster and Adriet. So maybe a fight for P8, actually P7 is still in the cards, and Adriet touched a span in the middle of the night as well. So yeah, Adriet, of course, difficult situation for him, but once again I cannot blame him for driving in such a difficult stint. Back to Tits. Tits chasing after Forever. A chase that is lasting forever, really. Whew, he's trying his best to try and, you know, fight, get something out of this. He started in a very good P4, I think, P3, but of course the night was not keen to him, and the restart not as well. And he is now in a very difficult situation, chasing after what could be possibly P7 at best, and if Darts does not commit mistakes, possibly that's about it. Back to Catalan, who is also driving with his lights turned off for some reason, just briefly. And chasing after Lopter, who went a little bit wide at the hairpin, and now is gonna get a little bit of pressure from Catalan, which I think is trying to do a blind attack as well. As we go into the lights, we can see him briefly. And these two are giving us quite a fight, and you know, the top 4 fight, top 5 fight was quite something. Anyway, 44 minutes left to go, and I think we're reaching the point where people will have to go into the pit lane. I did a test stint during, of course, the testing of the race, and I seen that with full fuel the car can actually go to, I don't know, 35 minutes left to the end of the session, kinda, so I think we are close to seeing the first pit stop in this race. And, you know, pit stops can be quite interesting, mainly because you go back into, you know, fresh tire and, of course, cold tire, which is probably the most endearing part of the process. But at the same time, you have to consider that with lower fuel and fresher tire, you run faster. So that's something to keep in mind. And as Catalan disappears into the night briefly, we watch the gap to the leader drop down to 4.1 seconds. I think the leader had a little bit of an issue into the last penultimate corner. So 2:19.9 was the last lap. Actually, let's see what kind of lap time he went through this time, if I can actually see that. 2:18.5 compared to Lopter, who is running in the 16.7 like a clock. And he's getting closer to striking midnight. P8, there's something happening here. Yeah, this went a little bit wide on this section, so I had a little bit of an issue. And Hackbuster and Forever are getting ever so closer, so maybe a battle for P7 is indeed in the cards. Anyway, back to our protagonists here. Catalan versus Lopter. What a fight they are developing. And, oh, there's also a crash. I think Nezu went wide. No, actually it's Jason Schultz, sorry. Going wide, and now he's behind Nezu, so yeah, a little bit of a shame for him. Back to Catalan in the night, who is appearing and disappearing sporadically. And now, as he breaks for the hairpin, he's still close, but not close enough. Now, as we go to maybe another camera set, one which is lower and maybe a little bit more interesting, the clock strikes midnight, and we are halfway through, so now we just have to wait for the countdown for the return of the sunlight here in Sebring. Currently I can see Tits getting closer to Forever. Now the gap is 1.6. Let's have a look at him. I mean, we cannot really see much from this point of view, but you can see that he's trying to chase after him. And, well, we'll get to him maybe later when the gap is a little bit closer, because right now I think Lopter is maybe able to run a little bit away from Catalan. Although, once again, I suspect that with the strategies we may not be able to see what the current real positions will be for all these drivers. And so, as Catalan once again gets through the corner with a little bit of an interesting line, he's trying his best to stay close, but trying to cut the corner to do so is a little bit off of what the ruling should allow, so probably we'll get him a warning after the end of the race, but nothing more than that. Because this is racing, this is MYASS, and this is what we live for. Now, through the last corner, the gap for the leader, 3.6 seconds, it is coming down. Let's see the lap time. 16.7. Lopter, 16.3. Catalan. We missed Catalan. And there's a mistake actually behind for P7. Yes, there's the battle we were talking about. So back here for another round of the Tits and Forever show. We had the first episode of this sitcom back in Nürburgring for the battle for P1, and now we are back for the battle for P7 between these two madlets. And let's see, going into the last corner, is anyone gonna try something? Oh, Forever going very wide, but Tits drifting through the night, and I think he's losing the car. I think Tits lost the car. Not really, but still he lost a lot of pressure he had. And Hackbuster now licking his lips, his fingers, and thinking about maybe a maneuver on Tits, which is likely to happen in turn 1. He's getting close, but decides not to. Decides to lift off and leave to fight for another day. So, yeah, Hackbuster, wise choice. Still a long race, of course. 39 minutes left to go, and going wide through the first turn, of course. And, yeah, a little bit of a mistake from Tits, which sadly brings him back to 3.4 seconds. I'm pretty sure he's gonna be a little bit frustrated from this race overall. But I mean, it's nothing too bad, really. I think it could have been way, way worse. So overall, things are going quite well, really. Another battle on track is Jason Schultz here, chasing after Nezu. Which, I mean, is not really a battle for the points. Points are from P10 onwards, but still, it's a little nice battle between these two. And it's nice to see that Nezu has a little bit of someone to chase after. Also, back to Catalan, which I saw briefly flash of a yellow light, which means that once again he went over the track limits, trying his absolute best to chase after Lopter, but not being able to stay behind him. 5 minutes left until 1 AM here in Florida, and Lobter is closing. Lobter is 3.1 seconds off Thomas, and I am afraid that the battle for the win may still be on. And I think Lobter is the first one to blink. Lobter goes into the pit lane. Let's have a look at him. Let's see where he comes out, and let's see if he actually gets the pit stop done. Hopefully he does. Yes, pit time. We have it down here. We don't know how much it's gonna be. And the leader, went very wide. Oh, that was a big mistake he doesn't want to have, especially when the person behind you is going for an undercut. Although historically, of course, with cars that require fuel, usually overcut is stronger than the undercut. But that's a story for another day. And as we said, Lobter is the first one to blink. Will he actually end up in free air? I think he will. There's Forever in P7 getting now through the last corner, but I don't think he's going to be able to be close enough to actually challenge him. Nope, he's not close enough as well. We can see now Lobter right ahead, getting now out of the pit limiter, crossing into the line. This is allowed, by the way, and getting into the track. Hackbuster is the next one going into the pit lane. And as he pits, yes, we can see down below that he's pitting he's pitting indeed. Tits is now closer, once again, to Forever. 1.7 seconds. I just wonder, though, after this pit stop from Lobter, will we see actually some, domino effect? Everyone going into the pit lane, panic and swing, people getting, crazy and saying, "Oh hell, we need to go into the pit lane. Stuff is playing out, lads. The government is falling. We need to do something." Probably, or probably not. We don't know yet. What we know, though, is that this battle for P7 is still underway, and Tits is still chasing after Forever. Lobter, of course, ahead is struggling a little bit with cold tires and heavy fuel as well, but I'm sure it's gonna be fine. Hopefully. Back to Tits. Back to the Tits and the Tiziano and the Raimondi. Actually, while this battle rages on, let's have a look at Thomas. Will he actually react to the pit stop of Lobter, or will he actually try and extend a little bit more? We're gonna have confirmation right now as he goes through the last corner. I think he's gonna extend. Yes, he is. He still has fuel, and fuel he's gonna use to try and run away. Catalan, in the same way, is staying behind, 5.8 seconds, and trying to stay as long as possible. Falcon instead decides that it's time to go into the pit lane and decides to follow the pit stop of Lobter. 48.9 is the average pit stop time, as we saw. And as we wait, we want to see also where he goes out compared to, of course, Lobter. We also have a look, of course, at Forever and Tits, because I think they may be out on the same piece of tarmac as Falcon as they come out of the as he comes out of the pit lane. Let's have a look, because as they go through the last corner, probably it's gonna be fighting for something here on the exit. Oh my god, they are too close, and yeah, this is ending up in disaster with Tits spinning out and Forever going into the pit lane. And I think Tits also going to the pit lane, so yeah, such a interesting way to warm up the tires, surely, but they go into the pit lane and come out somewhere. We also go to Nezu soon enough, because I think he's battling with Jason Short, as Lobter is indeed ahead of Falcon and is probably gonna stand. We go here to Nezu, fighting with Jason Short for the last place, while the pit stop are on the way. And let's have a look at Jason Short, if he's actually able to find a way through the Ukrainian driver, or see if it was gonna end up like the Tits situation, which, I mean, I hope it's not the case, but you never know. Anyway, Forever, Tits and Edriad also in the pit lane for the first and possibly last stop of the race. And as we go through the night, we can see Jason Short knowing better the gearing of the car and getting into the inside of Nezu, racing towards the last corner, braking together. And let's see who has the best exit. I think Nezu has. Yes, wisely, Jason decides not to push the thing further, and as Nezu goes into the pit lane, Jason decides to extend a little bit further. Now, back to Thomas, behind, chastened down by Catalan and Viper, going through the last corner. Last lap was a 17.6, so not a very fast lap compared to the usual pace he had. But I think he's gonna go into the pit lane. Yes, he has, and this is the crucial moment of the race we were waiting for. And oh boy, is he actually doing some speeding here. Yes, he is, but he can actually afford that because he has the pit lane here at the end. Who else is in the pit lane? I think it's Nezu. Yes, he is. And here we are, waiting for him to end his pit stop. We go to Lopter, who is now on the last straight, as Nezu now exit the pit lane. Also Vipersonic is entering the pit lane, and I wonder if Darts is gonna go as well. Yes, he is. So as I said, yeah, they extended to the absolute maximum they could. Let's see though. Lopter here, through the last corner. I think Thomas is exiting now the pit lane. He's gonna have, of course, to contend with tires that are not really up to temperature, and Catalan is actually extending a lap more. Let's see though, because as everyone is trying to get out of the pit lane, Lopter now overtake by Personic in the pit lane. There's still Dars waiting for the end of the stint. And what's the gap between him and Thomas? It says 10 seconds, but I think it's gonna come quite down, of course, because he's recalculating the current distance. And it's 6.7 seconds, which I feel like it's probably gonna come down a little bit in this lap due to hot tires versus cold tires, of course. Also, Falcon ahead of Vipersonic, just about. But of course, Vipersonic will have cold tires, so it's not gonna be really able to stay behind him, if, of course, Falcon doesn't commit a mistake, which is hard to tell, considering that he's racing with his headlight off and we cannot really see him at all. Anyway, back to, I don't know, the closest battle we got is Tits, once again, fighting and chasing after Hackbuster. And Hackbuster chasing after Forever. And Forever being a little bit alone here, with 6-second gap actually behind him, and not 20 seconds ahead, which is a little bit back here, of course, but it's because he's recalculating stuff on the fly. And Catalan is the next driver who is still yet to pit, so we have a look at him. As I expect him to probably pit at the end of this lap. I don't expect him to be able to run away more with the current fuel load the cars can actually have. So through the last corner, will Catalan enter the pit, or will he actually extend somehow another lap? Here is 2 AM, almost 3 AM, and Catalan does indeed run into the pit lane for his one and only stop. As also there's Jason Short also pitting here, as he as he's waiting for the last thing he wants to lose, which is of course Hope. And I saw a yellow flag here. Oh yeah, there's Lopter going a little bit wide, but nothing too bad. But not as bad as Thomas, who has, well, a little bit of a nightmare exit through that corner. But all of them racing towards Catalan, who is now stopping and waiting for the end of the stop. I'm gonna stay on him to see where he actually exits. Technically, he should be still behind those two, but you never know. I wanted to take a look just to be completely sure. And as he exits the pit lane, as you can kinda see from the buildings, I think this may be a little bit closer than we like. Let's stay on board with Lopter, because I'm not sure if it's actually behind. Let's have a look. There's Catalan, there's Lopter. Okay, Catalan is taking the normal exit of the pit lane, and with cold tires he loses the rear, so it was very close to getting ahead of Lopter, but he wasn't able to actually do that. But now, back to Lopter, the man on fire really, the man who's fighting the power throughout this entire race. As 3 AM hit the clock, and 30 minutes, which is basically a sprint away from the we are a sprint away from the end, we watch as chases down the leader, bringing the gap now down to 1.8 seconds. Oh boy, the fight for the lead after this entire race is gonna be, well, either completely underwhelming or something crazy, because at the same time I think Thomas is not gonna let that, you know, that position off as easily as one may think. So let's keep an eye on this. 3 AM hit the clock. We wait, of course, once again for the rise of the sunlight, for the most beautiful sunrise ever. But as we wait, these two are giving us some spectacle. Ooh, the gap goes up to 2.8 seconds actually, so maybe there was a little bit of a loss of time. Difficult to tell, really. Difficult to tell. We know that both of them are very fast drivers, so this is, well, now an intense battle, because there's direct confrontation between two drivers who are driving on the absolute limit. And it's more a battle on the clock for the time being, because as a wise man once said, it's one thing to catch a driver, and it's another thing to actually overtake him. And right now, Lopter is facing the harder part, usually the harder part for some reason, which is catching the driver. I mean, arguably the hardest part. Some people would argue that it's harder to overtake, but that depends from driver to driver. And usually, I don't think we have seen Thomas in will-to-will situation to match. Actually, considering this is his debut race, this is, well, one hell of a debut, both for him and both for Catalan. So, this is quite a situation we are watching, and this is quite a situation we are watching and hoping to see for the next 30 minutes of racing, actually 28 minutes. Doing some calculation, we know that the racing here should last around 35 laps. Now I don't know what lap we are in. Let me give it a look. Maybe we have here the thing. We are around lap 22, so we have still a lot left to go. And as we wait for the truth to be told, we're also getting towards something that I was not expecting, which is lapped traffic, because Nezu is right up ahead here, and Thomas is right here, not close behind. Now, if we have to think for a battle for the lead, we also have to consider where are the places where one would expect to see possibly a battle or an overtaking maneuver. Now, usually, for what we've seen, I'm gonna use the tool to draw, we saw that the last corner is one place where switchbacks happen. Turn 1, if last corner is fucked up, can be another place. Another very good place, of course, is this happen here, which as we've seen can hold on a lot of fighting, which then, of course, extend towards this entire section here. But at the same time, I expect that someone, if crazy enough, may try something here, which I know sounds crazy, but trust me, it may have something to do with all of this. Also, if you're wondering, yes, I am absolutely trying my best not to draw a penis, but I swear to God I won't do that before the end of the race. That being said, back to racing, back to MYASS. We have Thomas racing and leading for the time being, followed by Lobter. Also, hello SV, nice to see you here. And Lobter, still chasing, now 1.6 seconds, giving everything into this night stint, and maybe a little bit more because he cut the corner once again. And as he tries to catch Thomas and drops the gap down to 1.18, they both are chasing and catching Nezu, which has of course blue flags. I mean, we never really decided what to do with blue flags in these championships, because really, to be completely honest, that would be funnier to not have rules. So, I'm kinda interested to see what will Nezu do. Right now, he's facing, you know, the kind of psychological or, let's say, moral dilemma, which is to race or not to race the leader, which, because, you know, on one side, that'd be funny as shit, but on the other side, it's gonna be quite disruptive. Also, while we talk, there's a fucking 15.8 from Lobter, which is the current fastest lap of the race, which just proves that he wants this win, and man, will fight for it. This is getting intense. 26 minutes left to go. It's 4 AM here in Florida, and they are both giving everything through this section. Also, Vipersonic, as Nezu decides to complete the moral dilemma by driving out of the way. Note this, Vipersonic answers by getting a faster time, 15.8 as well, chasing after Falcon, although the gap is a little bit higher. And also, while all of this happening, we got Hackbuster versus Tix, 4P8. Another fight, which, you know, happened to be quite intense here, which is, you know, the last battle happening before the actual break, which is forever, which has a 28 or 20-something gap towards the next driver, which is that, who is racing alone in P6, which is, you know, kind of a relaxing experience, really, considering everything in this race. Now, as Tits goes to battle, I'm really curious to see the battle between Lobter and Thomas, so we're gonna keep them both there, which is completely dark, so we're not gonna do that. And we're gonna keep an eye, of course, on that, because if everything happens between the leader, that's the bloody fight for the lead, so you know, that is something we were not expecting after almost an hour worth of racing. Wind is picked down a little bit, now it's just 16 km/h or 10 mph going southwest, which is, well, something still to keep in mind, but still less strong than it was before, of course. And Lobter is now behind less than a second to Thomas. Actually, we're gonna go to the battle for the lead, because sorry Tits, but this is the fight we were waiting for. 20 and more laps of racing coming down to this fight here for the lead of the race. Reminder, endurance race, so double points. This is worth every single penny for these racers, and this could be decisive for everyone, especially in the championship, especially now that Alex Maggio is not racing today. So, what will Lobter do? Will he be able to, you know, invent something, do something in the next section of the track? Let's go on board with him. Let's go on the chase for the lead. both on the limit, both in third gear through turn 1, going as soon as possible in the fourth, and then on the gas. Both trying now to find and spot the breaking point, which is the 200-meter mark. He's chasing, he's trying everything, getting every single millimeter of the track right to try and close behind him. A little bit closer on the entry, but of course wider on the exit. But that is worth, because now the gap is 0.5. This also is fighting Buster. Let me see if I can actually give you an onboard view. Sadly, the onboard is completely dark, so the answer is sadly no. Sadly for you all, we won't see the overtake, but oh, the braking! Very late brake from Lopter, and now they are close. They are very, very excruciatingly close, as we hit almost 5 AM here in this night of fire we have between these two. What will Lopter do? What will he invent for an overtake? I showed you before what kind of overtaking spots I expect for this race, but as Thomas goes a little bit wide here, he's gonna be closer for the next section, which is gonna be crucial, because it is, let's say, the zenith, the access point for the last straight, which is of course the most important overtaking spot of the track. Also, if we not consider, of course, the hairpin we saw before. There's a big battle between Hackbuster and Tits, and I think someone else, but we're not gonna concentrate on that, sadly, as I said before, because this is, as I said, something we don't see we don't see often, a battle for the lead. And there's a little bit of a mistake from Thomas, both going a little bit near the track limits, but they go towards Jason Short, which is invisible, although he's, of course, on the blue flags. But as we see the sunrise just shy of the horizon, they both race towards the last corner. What will Lopter do to try and invent an overtake? Onto the brakes, very close to each other, and Lopter trying to use a wider line to maybe have a better exit towards turn 1. Of course, Thomas trying to use a smart defensive maneuvers, trying to use the racing line to exit as fast as possible, and that worked. Now we go towards turn number 1. Will Lopter try and dive something? I don't think he will. That'd be a little bit stupid. They both race towards the next exit of the corner, trying to stay as close as possible to the wall, and they both do fine. And now, as the lights is getting ever so present, as hope enlightens us after a long night, oh, we get a little bit of a stank slapper from Lopter, but no time really lost. And the pressure is still on. Catalan, 9 seconds behind, cannot catch. And Viper Sonic in all of this is 2 seconds behind Falcon, and absolutely flying, because he is 2 seconds behind. I saw a 15 point something as his lap time. So he is a menace as well. Battle raging all around Sebring in this last part of the race, as the top two are chasing and catching very soon and very closely Jason Short, who is of course under blue flags now. Oh boy, I was not expecting a battle for the lead, but here we are. The number 86 versus, I cannot remember the number of Thomas, but still another very fast driver, and he goes wide. He goes wide onto the grass. This is the occasion that Lopter was waiting for. Will he overtake? Will he try and do something into this next braking zone? He decides not to. Very wise decision, but he tries to have a look down the inside. They are close. They're maybe side by side into the next section. This may be it. This may be the overtake he was waiting for. But Thomas, still defensive, trying to keep him away. Very on the limit, bouncing on the curbs. Lopter brakes very early, trying to set up the exit into the next section. As the sun goes up, they both go through the right-hander into the last penultimate, finish straight. And they are gonna go side by side, I think. I don't think that was a good exit from Thomas. I think Lopter may do something. Thomas trying to get him on the limit on the right-hand side, but Lopter has the inside into the last corner. Who's gonna be bravest? Onto the brakes. Lopter trying to stay down the inside, but Thomas braking as late as him. And he's going a little bit too wide, but maybe he's gonna recover on the exit. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Is it gonna be enough? I don't think it is. Lopter takes the lead with 19 minutes left to go and the sun rising. What a situation. What a fight we had. Is Thomas gonna be able to chase after him? Is he gonna be able to fight back, let's say? It's gonna be difficult, of course. They are flashing Jason Short, which is, of course has blue flags. Oh, that's of course a bad spot to let everyone through, but he manages to do that just fine. So the battle for the lead continues. And Thomas, of course, trying to stay as close as possible to Lobter. This is not gonna be easy for Lobter. He's gonna have to try and run away as fast as possible. Technically, Thomas has better tires, just 1 or 2 laps fresher, technically. But still, the difference is gonna be marginal. Oh, big braking from Thomas. A little bit of a love tap on the rear. And they are still chasing. They are still chasing, and I think Thomas is not gonna let this one slide. Let's go on board with him. This is incredible racing. Incredible racing for the first endurance race of this championship. This is better than I would have ever expected, really. And he's trying to do something down the inside, very close. But no contact, thankfully, and Lobter keeps the lead. Oh man. Oh man, in the meanwhile, Tits back behind Forever. And I think he overtook him. Let's go on board with Forever as well. I think he just made a mistake, realistically. So nothing too big. Also, Viper Sonic chasing after Falcon. As the lights go out, we can see that Viper surely, well, he's going off track, sadly, so not gonna be able to overtake soon. But as the lights go on from the sun, we are able finally to see Falcon once again. And, ooh, Thomas going wide, of course. Going through the right-hander. And now trying maybe to stay close to the ever so faster Lobter, who is now leading this Grand Prix into the last few minutes waiting for us. As day finally comes, we wait to see if these last few minutes of the race, of course, have any surprise left on for us. There was also the battle between Falcon and Viper Sonic, and ooh, very wide from Thomas. Very close to the barrier, but it doesn't end in tragedy, thankfully for him. And I think I'm gonna stay with those two, because, well, this is quite interesting. Also having a look also at Forever and Tits on the left-hand side, as you can see. I just hope that my PC doesn't fucking explode by showing two of both at the same time. But as Thomas is losing ground a little bit to Lobter, we move now our attention to Forever, chasing once again after Tiziano for the battle for P7. And maybe we may have a look at Viper, who is once again looking to fight for P4 with Falcon. So Forever, I think he had a little bit of a mistake and he's losing ground to Tits, so we're gonna have to take a little bit of a look away from him. And we take instead a look at Viper, who is trying his best to chase after Falcon. Actually, sorry, I went Viper. Viper chasing after Falcon. So, lights off, hunting mode off, of course. And the two main battles we have are these ones. Also, Thomas. Oh, actually, wait a minute. Thomas made a mistake. Made a big mistake, and Catalan now is close to him. Wait a minute. Something has happened here. Oh, and Thomas goes very wide. Something has happened. What has happened to Thomas? Such a flawless race coming undone in these last few minutes of the race. Oh man, what a shame. What a shame. He's still on the podium, but he must be kicking. He must be absolutely devastated after this. Oh man, I just hope he can keep his composure and maybe fight back a little bit. 4 seconds are not an infinity, of course, but it's gonna be difficult to catch Catalan after this whole race. Well, back to Viper Sonic now, chasing after Falcon. Let's see if he has something left to say in this race, if he can actually find a way through the German driver. Poland versus Germany once again, which is, I hope, not a reference to something that you may be thinking. And now, both going on the limit, on the exit of this corner, trying to get the best exit possible, and racing towards the last corner. Is Viper gonna be able to elongate, actually get an upgrade on his finishing position in this last part of the race, or will he struggle? We have no clue, but let's find out. Through this last corner, Falcon struggling a lot to keep the car straight, as you can see him drifting very wide. And as Viper is getting closer, very close, maybe he's gonna be able to try a maneuver into turn 1. I think he's getting closer on the straight. Yes, he is. Falcon goes defensive. And onto the brakes. He's gonna be able to do it around outside. I think he is. It's a very brave maneuver, and one hell of a maneuver it is, because he overtakes Falcon down the outside of turn 1. Shoutouts to this maneuver, because that's impressive. Trust me. You gotta try this to understand why it is impressive, but trust me, it is. Meanwhile, back to Forever and Tits, because I saw Tits slowing down, and yes, he is. I think he had a big mistake on the last penultimate corner, and, well, Hackbuster goes through into P8. This fight is still going on and raging for P7, so... oh no, oh no, oh no, Tits made another mistake, big one, and now he's losing ground to Hackbuster as well. So down to P9, must be kicking himself for this, but the race, of course, is not over yet. 30 minutes can be a lot. And as we go back to Falcon, which is the closest driver we have to someone else on track, we wait, we count down the minutes to the end of the race. It's 7 AM currently in Florida. The sun has risen, and the Freeman has shinen, which doesn't mean anything really. I just wanted to say that. But here in MYASS, the racing is still intense as hell, and we hope to have some more plot twists waiting for us for the end of the race. Or maybe not. It was a very nice race, I gotta say. An hour and something of tension were building up towards a fight for the lead, which was worthwhile. And, well, battling all around, really. People going faster in sections of the track we were not expecting, and section of the race we were not expecting. Mistakes, which of course are a constant here in endurance racing. Of course, after an hour of racing, you can get distracted quite easily. And as we see Vipersonic overtaking Jason Short for blue flags, I mean, hopefully he does, because Jason is not really letting off the throttle. Now he does. Let's see, Falcon actually... I think Falcon is gonna take advantage of this, is he? Kinda. I mean, Falcon goes a little bit in the middle of the track and becomes a little bit of a nuisance for the German driver, but I feel like he knows that he doesn't really have a lot of choice, so now he's gonna have to chase after, of course, Viper. But the pace he's currently showing should not be enough to currently challenge for P4, so sad day for him, but still a solid and impressive result for P5 in such a race. Now, we move back to Hackbuster, because he has surely found some groove, and he is getting closer to Forever. And Forever may have to look behind and ask himself, well, do I have to fight this? Do I want to fight this? No clue, but let's stay a little bit on board with him and see how much Hackbuster can gain and where he can gain, actually. Well, oh well, that's surely not the point where you should gain. So that answers our question, and with Hackbuster getting a little bit lost on the last corner, we have Tits getting back at him as soon as the camera decides to show him. There it is. And probably the battle for P8 raging once again on. 11 minutes left, and 2 cars going very much out of the track. I mean, it's racing, it's allowed here in MYASS, and with Tits getting through a maneuver that it's questionable, but I mean, we can argue that both of them went off track. We move towards the last part of this race, the epilogue of what has been a climax, an orchestra, an opera that we shall never forget in a long, long time. Tits now trying to run away from Hackbuster, and Hackbuster trying to run away from his demons, and all of them running away from Adriet, which is currently racing alone in P10, as well as P11 and P12 for Jason Short and Nezu. As I take a little bit of a deep breath, we watch as Tits fights away the impulsive, tough and racing of Hackbuster and tries to chase after Forever for this last part of the race. I haven't looked at the lap times, let's have a look now. The best lap, which I saw before but I forgot to stop, was kind of interesting, but the last lap they are racing, well, 15 for Lobster, which is crazy, and also, wait a minute, Falcon got ahead of Vipersonic. What the hell happened here? I think Viper had a mistake there. So the battle for P4 once again is on. Somehow we missed it. Falcon got ahead of Vipersonic, and now Vipersonic, the overtake he did before, all to do again. So the battle between these two, the two protagonists of the DRC, if you remember, rages on once again. Let's see if one of them can outsmart the other, get maybe a maneuver in, or maybe do something that can get this 4th place out of them. For some reason, I actually went to darts, so my bet on that. Let's go on board to our friend here, Vipersonic. can see how much they are driving on the limit, and you can. I think you can actually feel a little bit of their tiredness. Of course, after such a long race, it's easy to commit mistakes and feel a little bit tired. At the same time, that's the beauty of endurance racing. The power of resisting, having the strength, the stamina to go towards the end, towards the rising sun, which awaits at the end of a very long and dark night. And as they go through this section, we can have a look at the flags, of course, to see if there's wind, but I think it picked down a little bit. There's an American flag right on the right hand side here, which of course tells us there's still a little bit of wind, but not much. And as they go through this section, ooh, big tank slapper for Vipersonic, which is not gonna help in his battle for P4. So Falcon gets a big briefing space, and now there's a lot of work to do for Vipersonic. Let's go to Cam 1, which is of course the one who has a little bit more of cinematic feeling, let's say. And I'd say let's go back to Tits, because once again he's one with the closest margin. Also Falcon and Vipersonic has the closest margin, but he's trying his best and he's fighting for P7. And as he manages to get a little bit away from Hackbuster, he's gonna, knowing Tits, he's probably wondering when is this race gonna end, and probably is just waiting with a lot of pleasure for the end of this race and for the coming of the next one, which, if you're wondering, is a sprint race in Imola, which is gonna be next week. By the way, hope to see you there too, to see some more peak racing here in MYASS. But as Tits goes a little bit wide, same for Hackbuster, we move back to Vipersonic, as he goes a little bit wide as well, because he's gained back the pace to go back below a second. 7 minutes left to go. Probably a little bit more, because there's of course the lap that the leader will have to finish once the timer hits 0. And as Vipersonic goes a little bit wide at the hairpin, his chase never ends. Okay, as I was asking before, the wind is 16 km/h south, so not really too strong of a wind here in Florida, but still something to keep in mind in some section of the track. And as we see, Viper is not letting this one go, and so is Tits. Actually, I think I'm gonna go both with Tits like this, to keep an eye on both battles, hoping that my PC can actually survive this, because this is gonna be quite difficult. And let's see. Viper getting closer and closer and closer to our friend here, Falcon, and Falcon trying his absolute best to survive this incredible fight. As we can see, Tits and Forever fighting in the hairpin, and Tits losing a little bit of ground to Forever, and so is Vipersonic getting wide on the penultimate corner, and now maybe close enough to try maybe a maneuver into the last corner. Let's see. Will he do something? Will he actually wait wisely for turn 1? 5 minutes left to go. There's not a lot of time left to think about this. He's trying his best, getting the ass of his car a little bit loose and trying to get an exit, but not a good enough one, I think. Hard to tell from this point of view. I think he's gaining. Yes, 15.6, fastest lap of the race once again. He's gonna be able to maybe dive down the inside. That's not gonna be a wise maneuver, but so it's not braking too early as Falcon is doing, because now the run is indeed there, and I feel like he's gonna try and go for it. And yes, onto the brakes into turn number 2 or 3 or something. He goes through, and I think now he's gonna try to run away cleanly in this last section of the lap. Falcon, of course, right behind, will try to stay behind and close. As we saw before, just a mistake and you get back into position. But still, very nice racing etiquette between these two pros, or, you know, mainly drivers who know how to drive. And as we watch this joyful driving between these two of them, and as we see Vipersonic getting a little bit wide through that corner, we wait and we go maybe to Tiziano as he goes through turn 1, chasing after, of course, our friend here, Forever. We keep on board of Falcon on the left side just to keep an eye on the battle for P4, of course, but at the moment the eyes are on the battle for P8 as... Oh boy, Tits loses the end of the car, rear end of the car once again. And Hackbuster is there and wants to have a little bit of a look and maybe a little bit of a talk to our Italian friend here. As Falcon is losing a little bit of ground to Vipersonic, although not too much. Here Tits still in a very difficult situation, hoping that time goes off as soon as possible because I'm pretty sure he's suffering like hell and I can't tell. He sees Hackbuster very close to his rear mirror, and as we see this battle I think we're gonna change view and go towards this guy here and actually get the onboard from Hackbuster instead, because Falcon, he's chasing back towards Vipersonic, and these two I think they're gonna have a battle once again because Falcon is getting closer and maybe he's gonna have a run into turn 1. Also, I think they're catching Thomas as well. Thomas had a big drop off in pace in the second half of the race, which I wonder, could that have been due to... Wait, did I lose the audio? Okay, I can hear. I was wondering, could that be maybe due to the pressures of the tires, which have to be changed manually in the pit stop as well? I wonder if that's the case. I have no clue, but as I say that, Tits got overtaken by Hackbuster, and now he's fighting him for P9 instead. Sorry, P8. But I just wonder, I gotta ask Thomas, because I feel like that maybe the loss of pace he has in the second half of the race could be done, or could be due, to the fact that he has different tire pressures. Not sure about that, but that could be a cool hypothesis. In the meanwhile, Tits manages to get back through Hackbuster, and now will try to chase after, of course, Forever, which is 2.7 seconds ahead. I'm gonna keep the onboard there, of course, but as hypothesis goes, we wait and see what happens. They tell me, oh, wait a minute, as they say, Catalan actually is fighting for the lead in this last part of the race. What's going on? Catalan, I think Lopter had a mistake, because that would explain how Catalan got this close. There's a battle for the lead under our nose and we didn't catch it. What the hell is going on? Oh man, thank you Virus for letting me notice this, because I wasn't paying attention to this. And oh man, the race is still underway, and as they both go beyond the track limits clearly. 1 minute left to go, the next one is gonna be the next lap, but Catalan is there. Catalan is fighting for the lead. This is quite the plot twist, I gotta say. And as Falcon and Vipersonic are also fighting, I'm gonna keep the fight there on the left hand side. What the hell is going on here? The number 86, I think he had a little bit of a drop-off in performance. We also see Falcon fighting and trying to see the inside of Vipersonic in the last corner. I think he's gonna try and outbrake him. We have a little bit of a look on the left hand side. I mean, you can guess why I'm looking at this, because what the hell? Falcon gets through. I think there's no switchback from Vipersonic. How to tell from this point of view, actually. I think Vipersonic is still on the inside. Yes, there it is. So overtake failed, but still Falcon will fight to the very bitter end, especially considering now that this is the last lap of the race. But last lap, holy hell, what a last lap this is, because now Lopter, after a very comfortable race here, he's fighting for the lead, and Catalan is there. Catalan is there and will try absolutely everything to get through. As the clocks is on 40 seconds left to go, we have Catalan pressuring Lopter for the race win. And Lopter not faltering for the time being, getting into the heaviest braking point of the racetrack. Catalan braking even later. And oh boy, there's no room for error here. If you slide the rear of the car, it's over for you. But they're both very close, and I think Catalan is close enough to maybe try and attack here. He can try and dive bomb him, and that would be quite lethal considering the situation they are in. 10 seconds left to go. The guy with the checkered flag is ready and waiting. Oh, Catalan makes a little bit of a slide and loses a little bit of crucial time as Lopter runs to this section. Leader is on the final lap. The time has hit 0 here in Sebring, and Lopter, oh, getting a little bit off the track, let's say a little bit off the line through that section. Of course, there's also a battle between Forever and Tits, and I think Tits actually managed to overtake Forever. Let's get them both from Forever, because I think it deserves a little bit of a spotlight in this situation. But as this goes on, we got actually a mistake from Lopter. He goes off and on to the last straight. I wonder, will Catalan be able to find a way through to fight into the last corner of the race? The gap is just 0.3. Lobster got a little bit of a better exit, but I wouldn't exclude a possible maneuver into the last corner. And there it is! He tries his best, but he loses the end of the car, drifting towards it. But this is it! Lobster doesn't falters under pressure, and he wins the first endurance of MYASS. Lobster wins here in Sebring. Catalan second, Thomas in third, and we got Falcon versus Viper on the last corner. Big contact, but Falcon manages to get through, and he takes P4 on the end of the race. Vipersonic P5. Then Lonely in 6th place. We got Darts, but more importantly, I'm gonna go towards Tits because he's fighting for P7 with his whole life. Oh man. Let's have a look at this. Let's give a little bit of an on-board from Darts, just to give him a little bit of a glory run for his incredible race, which was quite quiet, but still worthwhile. And as he gets into P6 and gets some valuable points in this championship, we stay here with Tits forever and Hackbuster going through this section. As I saw Jason Short actually getting into P7 for a moment. I think that's more likely for a mistake from the leaderboard. I think he's a lap down. But they go towards the last corner. Let's see. I think this is a little bit safe. He's gonna try and not overdo the last corner, and so he does. And so, through the last corner, he goes onto the gas towards the start-finish straight. And so, Tits finishes the race in, well, they say P8, but it's P7, and now it's corrected. P7, Forever P8, and Hackbuster in P9. Then we wait for Adriat, which is the next car, and possibly the last car on the lead lap, who's gonna finish the race, potentially in not 12, sorry, I was actually calculating, but should be P10, so the last point-paying position. So, difficult race, of course, for him, but still, way more intense than I would have expected, really, considering this is an endurance race, and you know, usually endurance races are a little bit more laid back, a little bit more relaxed. But oh boy, was I wrong, and I am gladly wrong this time, because this was incredible. And as Adriat goes through the last corner, they go towards the big parking slot of donuts we see in turn 1, and this race is finally over. And man, what a race it was! Wow, I don't know what to say, really. I'm gonna go on to the, of course, the technical, we'll be right back screen. But as I get maybe a replay of the race to put on the background while we do the interviews, really, I don't know what to say. This was amazing. Amazing, as many would say, really. Let me save real quick the replay for this race, because wow. Okay, there it is. So, this is MYASS round 2. There we go. Keep replay. And let me move into, of course, the interviews room and wait for some people to join, of course, while maybe I get the replay of the race in the background. So, as I get the replay in the background, just give me a moment. I'm gonna ask, of course, who wants to be interviewed. Okay, so replay is here. I'm gonna go to the first driver I see. I'm gonna go like this. Okay, let me remove photo mode. And let me get some interesting camera angle. And as we get here, oh, sorry, you didn't see anything. As we wait for the start, of course, of the interviews, I get a little bit of replay here. And well, I don't know who wants to get interviewed first. There's Thomas who says who wants to be interviewed first, and we got Catalan who just gets into the... Yeah, exactly. We got Catalan and Tits, which are the first lads getting into the steamboat room and in the interview room. Well, man, what can I say? This was more intense than I was expecting, really, to be. And also,
who you're speaking to?
Everyone.
I seriously thought my race was over after I was P3. Like, the first 2 were faster than me in the first half of the race. The guys behind were slower than me, and I thought, okay, I'm in the no man's land. Then somehow Thomas lost completely the pace. Lopter also lost completely the pace. And if I didn't do a few mistakes, I could have taken up there if I had like another lap or two.
Yeah, so because I swear to God, I wasn't really paying attention to the battle for the lead after the overtake on Thomas that happened with like 20 minutes left to go. Then I saw the gap between you and the leader of the race getting towards less than a second, and it was like, what the hell is going on there? And yeah, the end of the race was more exciting than I was expecting, really. So really congratulations. And well, a little sad for Thomas, but I think I have an hypothesis on what happened. A very silly one, to be completely honest, but I'm gonna ask him, of course, when we get the time, which is the fact that I think, and I emphasis on I just think, that Thomas probably in the pit lane when there was the pit stop forgot maybe to change the tire pressure for the new set, which would explain maybe the drop off in pace. But that's just an hypothesis, of course. Of course, we're gonna ask him, and he's gonna confirm us to or not.
Because I'm watching the replay on the stream, and we were at the first hairpin. Oh, okay, yeah. So basically, Viper like tried to move wider because he saw you dive into the inside, and I was kinda going straight. I was not really straight, but I was a little bit aiming inside, so we had contact, and I lost the car. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was saying in the chat when I said I found you already spinning
Yeah,
out.
the point is that we were side by side, and all I saw in the radar was a third guy diving the inside and Viper hitting me. So I was like, bruh.
Yeah, fair. But as you have seen, the space was there. I did not go wide or anything. Then obviously it's sad what happened, but because you had the pace to be.
Yeah, that's the worst part. Today has been clearly pace-wise my best race so far at Sebring, apart from the test races. Pace was there consistently in the 16s. Yeah, I had some mistakes after, so I probably wouldn't have been much higher than I was, but maybe I could have fought with darts for a P6 or maybe Viper for a P5. But apart from that, I actually think I have the second best lap in the race. I had a 16.0. I don't know what laps were you doing on the.
You have the fourth fastest.
Third or fourth?
Fourth.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
Consider that the guys on the top, and especially Vipersonic, were lapping in the 15.6, I think, at some point. So you get the idea that they were absolutely flying at some point of the race. So it's really difficult to beat that kind of lap time, as you may know. But yeah, considering the problems you had in lap 1, I think it was a nice recovery, and also a nice fight in the end of the race with Hackbuster and of course Forever.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good fight. I think the first 5-6 laps have been one of my best drives ever because I was doing very fast times and I was very locked in, so I managed to do a lot of overtakes early on. And I was very lapping very fast, trying to get back places. But once I did the second mistake in turn 1, where I completely lost the rear and I spun out with snap oversteer, that's when I completely lost my mental focus. I only got that back with the night, but yeah, that was mainly what helped me get back into the mental state to push again. But yeah, good recovery race, P7, still good position. I want to see the standings now because double points. If I was P2 earlier, I was hoping to maybe still be in the top 5 spots. I might still be, but I might be way further down than I actually expect because Lobter was already ahead of me and now he scored 50. So it's gonna be quite a big gap.
Well, I mean, it's still, both of you still put off some elite performance in this race, so I wouldn't really be too ashamed or anything about this. So, what can I say except, well, first of all, thank you for participating in this event, of course, and second of all, well, congratulations in general, because those were both incredible races. Both your comeback from last place to, at the end it was, I think, P7 or P8, I don't remember exactly. P7, and of course Catalan with the entire battle with with the top dogs to P2. So incredible racing, really, from both of you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I'll go whip some guys to make them come in here, and yeah, have a good night.
Absolutely, have a good night as well.
Have a good night.
So let's wait for the next lads to join the interviews, as we see a very choppy replay of the race, which I feel like is mainly due to the whole GPU thing I was talking about earlier. But let's not worry too much about that, because now we have here in the commentary box Falling Falcon and, of course, one of the main protagonists of this race as well, Thomas. Hello, how are you?
Hello, pretty tired. So, this was my first race with my direct drive wheel. So I jumped from like maybe 2 Nm and a half, 3 Nm TMX, which was falling apart, to a 9 Nm Mozart 9, which means that my wrists are currently exploding, and they were for the latter half of the race.
Oh, so that's the reason, okay.
Yes, the pressures were fine on the tires. I made sure that the pit strategy was all correct because I've had an history with that. It wasn't the car, it was the driver.
I mean, it can happen. As
So,
we know, a hour and a half race is quite physical and can be very tiring on the physical, so...
yeah, the Miata is a very difficult car for 1 hour and 20 minutes. Like usually endurances, you do them with a GT3 or an hypercar, which have got at least some sort of driver assist most of the time. So meanwhile with the Miata, you felt every single bump. You had to make sure to blip the throttle a little bit to keep it stable, otherwise you're going to spin out under braking, or if you don't, you're just going to lose a lot of time. So yeah, pretty difficult race.
Difficult race, but still, you managed to get a podium, a maiden podium in this series,
Yes,
so...
very happy with that.
So congratulations, of course, about that. And, well, still, you gave us a lot of spectacle and a very nice race to watch. So, first of all, thank you. And second of all, I guess we'll see you in the next round as well.
Yep. Thank you.
That is absolutely fantastic. And the other guest, of course, here is Falcon. Hello, Falcon. How are you, first of all?
Pretty okay. Wasn't the longest or most difficult race I've done, so it was pretty chill.
And how was the battle at the end of the race? Because I saw like you had a big scrap with Vipersonic in the later part of the race.
Yeah, basically last lap, last corner, I had to kind of get the elbow out because he would have gone through. Otherwise, yeah, I didn't have many exciting battles because I was basically just slower, and I just kept getting in front because of other people making mistakes and going off.
I mean, it's still an endurance race, so at the end of the day,
Yeah.
not making mistakes is part of the experience. So I wouldn't really be sad about getting the position you end up. So great racing from you. And the only thing I wanted to ask is, how the hell were you driving without headlights in the night?
I just drive without headlights, I guess.
How? But like
Most
I don't. I know it sounds stupid.
learn the track.
I know it sounds stupid, but can you maybe provide a screenshot on how the track looked to you while driving? Because
I did throw a screenshot from half a year ago from a Group C Le Mans race in the chat a while ago, which was also at night with rain, and I drove most of it without headlights because I was fighting the entire time.
oh man, okay, so I guess you.
Basically just black for like 6 hours.
Well, I mean, I guess you can watch. I guess you can see through the night. That was really interesting and not what I was expecting. But well, that made you truly, I mean, a menace to watch during the broadcast because it was very difficult to to see you towards the night part of the race. But still, very very fun. But yeah, that being said, I don't know, both of you, do you have a moment of the race that you liked the most, or something that you want to say about this?
Well, I like the start. I don't know what happened. Oh yeah, the very first corner, turn one, was particularly funny since I had P1, pretty much go very deep into the corner, just throw the car on the inside. I thought, okay, it's already over. This guy just turned one already 5 miles ahead. Then I see him slowly slide away into the gravel. It almost felt like slow motion. And then like a couple of corners later, it's like a 3.5 seconds gap. Like
Yeah.
it was utter
Yeah,
despair turned into
that was
confused joy.
after that was after we all just had a giant crash in the hairpin, probably.
Yeah, like I had no idea, like I had no context. The only thing I could see in the data was the gap fluctuating between 2 seconds, 3.5, 5 seconds, and all of that. And I had to guess about what happened. Like sometimes I was about to be overtaken, like the guy was behind me was getting like almost a second per lap. Then, like in despair, I check again, and it's gone up 2.5 seconds again.
That
So
was
like
me
I'm
being
completely
wildly
confused.
inconsistent.
So yeah.
Makes sense. Makes absolute sense.
I mean, this was the first time I drove this track ever. In the configuration it's in today, I only know the 1960s version, which I drive quite a lot.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I've only driven
considering it was your first time, you
once.
still did very, very well. So
Yeah, I was very pleased with the cleanliness of the drivers. Like there are no particular rules aside from not killing people, and it was a pretty damn clean race.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I trust you on racing, and you know you never fail to deliver. So this works well. So I won't complain, and I feel like this works quite well. So as long as this goes on like this, we are gonna have some fun little races in this championship, surely.
Yeah. I'm
Yep.
already dreading Imola though.
Imola's gonna be very fun,
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
no.
I assure you, it's gonna be.
No.
And also,
especially Acqua Minerali.
it's gonna be a sprint race. So probably your wrists are gonna have a little bit less stress this time.
Yes. Yes.
Sweet.
But yeah, that's great to hear, and well, I'm glad to have you here interviewed. So yeah, I'm gonna probably go interview some other drivers now, and of course tell you to have a good night and have fun for the next event or whatever comes after.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have fun interviewing. See ya.
See ya. So those were of course Palin Falcon and Thomas, which was the leader for most of the race. Now we wait for the next set of drivers, which are gonna be delivered directly at the steps of the interview room. I don't know which ones are gonna be. I'm gonna probably ask who wants to be the next. There you go, asked. Let's see who decides to have a little chat with Race Direction. The answer is Vipersonic and Darts. Hello, both of you.
Hello.
How are you?
Pretty okay. After this finish, I'm pretty okay.
Well, you delivered surely an intense race, especially in the last few laps, I gotta say.
Yup.
And well, let's start with some silly question, which I feel like are gonna probably be something like, what do you think of the race? How was the race in general from your point of view?
I think it was more enjoyable than the first round. The track is way more interesting. It needs more techniques to go fast around the bumps and take very unique lines to do the slow in fast out. And I learned that at the end of the practice, and I am very happy when I learned that, because it gave me top of the spot almost. But yeah, I accidentally tapped this at the start of the race, because I think it was Kate who gone to the inside, and it was basically free wide, while Tis had still the rear in front of me. So yeah, Tis got run off, and then after that it got a little boring for most part. Only after the half of the race, after pitting, quite some stuff happened. Who was that? Ice Palm?
Wait, which you mean? Because after the pit stop, I think you were still chasing Falcon, and then you managed to have a battle with him near the end.
Yup. after like second lap after the pit, I spun, and at that point when I spun, I decided to fully focus. I muted myself on Discord and just started trying to be consistent for a few laps. It was not as consistent, but then I made another mistake, gone deep, and then started focusing, and the lap times showed that I started going fast. I started doing fastest laps, and I cashed up to Falcon. Overtook him like 2 times. We switched places, and then what made me push even harder was Thomas making mistakes and losing many seconds. In my head, I thought I had a chance to get him, so I really pushed hard, and that's how the end happened. I was making mistakes at the exits of corners, so Falcon kept catching up. So we had some fighting, and that's how it ended with me trying to do a switcheroo in the second last lap with success, and then at the last lap I tried doing the same identical move, but Falcon learned to defend the inside, and he did, and I hit his rear, which made him almost spin, but he saved it, which made him a winner in this fight.
Yep, it was a very intense final few laps between you and Falcon. And well, I sadly the only sad thing is I couldn't really focus 100% on that fight, mainly because there was 3 fights happening on track on the last lap, which was one a battle between P1 and P2, the second was the one between you and Falcon, and the third one was the big fight between Tits, Hackbuster, and Forever behind in the points. Still, thankfully, I think I managed to cover all 3 battles quite well, so probably while watching the stream you will be able to rewatch the incredible finale for your efforts, of course. And other than that, I can say it was a very interesting race, more intense than I would have expected considering the length of it, but I'm glad that it ended up being as fun as it was for all of you.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that being said, very happy that you enjoyed it, very happy that you had a very nice fight, very happy that you actually had that moment of focus, let's say, during the
Yes, sir.
the half part. And what can I say? What do you think about the next track actually, which is gonna be, of course, Imola?
Imola depends what version of the track it is, what year, what curbs.
Likely, it's likely gonna be the old version, mainly because we need to have more pit stops. Sorry, more pit
white
box.
and red curbs.
Yes, exactly.
Lovely. I think I will enjoy it.
That's very nice. That is absolutely very nice. So, absolutely great, and the only thing I'm wondering is if Darts, which is the other guy interviewed, is actually alive or has forgotten that he's muted, but I think he's actually away, so I don't think we're gonna hear from him, sadly. But that's okay. I'm sure he had a nice race, and I'm sure he enjoyed as well. So, what can I say? Thank you to both of you, of course, and we'll see both of you in Imola.
Yup, thanks for hosting this.
No problem. See ya.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Okay, meanwhile Thomas is proposing, of course, tracks with extra pit boxes. I may ask, of course, if needed, but at this moment I think we are pretty okay with that. But of course, if needed, everything is okay. Okayama and Imola for sure. I will ask later. Anyway, next guys are Nezu and Akpasta. So, hello to both of you.
Hello.
And we'll start instantly with the fire question, which is, how was your race for both of you?
Interesting. Like many mistakes, but also they led to many fun battles. So generally, I'm happy with the result.
Yeah, I mean, you had a lot of interesting fights, especially near the end. You had a big 3-way fight between you, Tits, and Forever for, I think it was P7, if I remember correctly.
That's true.
That's incredible. And is there any point of the race you remember? You remember something you can actually recall being, I don't know, something memorable you remember?
Well, probably rallying with Tits after the first corner.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Where we both went off track. Yeah, that was very interesting and very fun. Like exciting.
Yeah, that was an
I yearn for the
interesting
dirt
maneuver.
again.
That was an interesting maneuver, and it was absolutely incredible to see it live, especially because I wasn't expecting both of you to keep the gas on while going off track. But yeah, I'm glad that you had that fun battle. I'm glad that, of course, you enjoyed having a fight with Tits forever, and well, whoever really came into play during that fight. And on Nezu's side instead, how was your race instead?
It was definitely a race, that much I can say. But instead of fighting with other people, I was fighting with blue flags. Well, to be fair, I was not prepared for this race at all, but I just wanted to join in for the fun, and I kind of got some fun. The other two reasons why I joined is because, well, firstly, I found a great room in this race. Fuck, I fucked it up, but whatever. In this race, I found room to get more racing experience. And the second reason is, well, I don't want to miss any endurance events anymore. Like, one time I missed an endurance race at DRSC, and I mean, after that, I can't forgive myself. Now I want to join every endurance event. I mean, even though the result was pretty terrible, I was like several seconds behind everyone on each lap, and my consistently wasn't perfect, but it was still better than I think some people were just faster than me, so I wasn't able to gain anything. I still think that it was fine. Like, I enjoyed myself despite everything.
Well, I mean, considering you entered the race with zero practice with both the car and the track, I feel like you did very well. And also, 1 hour and something more worth of racing on this combo surely is gonna help getting ready for, of course, the next round. So, that being said, this was more of a practice round, let's say, for you, and I hope we can see more of you, of course, in the next few rounds, which are gonna be in Imola and then, of course, Dragon Trial.
Knowing myself, I have never tried Dragon Trial before, so I guess I should not repeat the mistake of Sebring and actually try it out before. For Imola, though, I hope I'll join in because I feel way better in Imola, but so is everyone else. At the same time, I'll see if I'll be free that weekend, but I think it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, I mean, it's no pressure. If you feel like racing, it's you can be in. If you don't have time or anything, it's no pressure for this. So it's great to have you on board, of course, and it's great to have seen you, of course, in this event as well. And we hope to see more of you, of course, in the next few rounds.
Thank you. Well, the last thing I would say is that I think I have met my targets for this race. Besides the experience, I definitely didn't want to kill anyone, so I didn't. So hopefully I won't kill anyone in the next race.
No, you have all been very respectful in will to will and racing, so that was a very nice thing to see. And I just know that trusting you will work, and I know that you won't do anything to, let's say, kamikaze, let's say, during the entire season. So it's great to see that, and it's great to see that even without rules we can have some fun racing. So thank you.
Thank you.
So, that being said, I don't know if both of you want to say anything else. Literally, whatever you want, you can say that as long as you're live.
Well, I guess we're preparing for the next race, and we'll see you next week.
Absolutely diabolical. And, yeah, what can I say? Thank you for joining, and see you in Imola.
See ya.
Thank you. See ya.
Bye-bye. And as Nezu and, of course, Hackmaster leave the interviews room, we wait potentially for the next one, which is gonna be Jason Schultz and Adriet. Hello, both of you.
Hello.
How are you? How was the race?
Who you asking?
Well, both. I mean, at the same time.
I'm gonna let Adrian speak first. I want to
Adrian.
go last here.
It was fun, but on my end, it was also frustrating. I think I could have been on the fight for the sevens. I had the pace, but I didn't have the consistency. I ended up on the wall 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I mean,
And I
considering...
lost confidence on the last turn. I didn't even recover from the crash. I started misjudging the braking point. But yeah, I mean, one lap pace, I was quick, I think. But it was better than last race. But yeah, I lost on the consistency side.
I mean, it's one step at a time. It's one step at a time. You first get the speed, then you get the consistency, and then slowly but surely you get stronger and better. So, although it was a difficult race, you can just get probably
I'm just
positives out of
sad
this.
I missed the 3-way fight. It could have been a 4-way fight, but yeah.
I mean, don't be too hard on yourself. I feel like you did still a pretty nice race, nevertheless. So, I'm pretty sure in Imola we'll see more of you and more intense fighting from you as well.
I hope so, yeah.
I'm sure of it, mate. I'm absolutely sure of it. And Jason, instead, on your side, how was it the race?
Well, I'd like to make a quick shout out to my mobile data for the complete choke job on lap 1. The complete. Everyone was kind of dancing around for me, so I lost a bunch of positions on my start. So, if I even had pace, I would have had to have climbed back, but I didn't really have any this round. It was kind of surreal. I just could not figure out this car and track combo. I'm already kind of mid about the Miata, and from all my other experience at Sebring, I'm just terrible at Sebring, even with I'd say at least a few hours over the week. Like probably nothing crazy, but at least a few hours more than what Netsu had, right? I still couldn't get it to stick to the road at all, so I'm very disappointed at that. Very disappointed for my team, BW Corsa, which I did not mean to rep those paints, that paint that I was running today. I meant to bring a different one, but I couldn't finish it in time, so we were running the pink Hope machine. As you know, Hope is the last thing you lose, or however what I missed something in that. Hope is the I think it is. Hope is the last thing you lose. Do you have anything specific? Because I was kind of in the back fighting blue flags like Nesu did.
I mean, I saw you in the blue flag situation where there was like a fight. I think it was between Viper and Falcon, but I'm not sure because like near the end of the race, of course, I was getting a lot of concentration on the stop fights.
I believe it was Viper and what's the guy with the T in his name? Thomas.
Thomas.
I think it was those two because I let those two pass. I think in one corner. I don't remember which one, and then like 2 or 3 corners later, I see Thomas in the wall, driving away. I think I'd already let Katza pass at this point, so that was an interesting thing at the very, very end of the race. Oh, strategy. I went for the very long run for the first stint, but I did an oopsie. You know how you'd said the entire week, hey, test the AC pitting system. Test the AC pitting system. Guess what I forgot when I went to go pit?
I guess that happened because I remember you had a disconnection before the race started. And if I have to guess, it resetted the race strategy before the start, isn't it?
No. The strategy was fine actually. The strategy saved because I put the setup in, or strategy in the setup, and then ported the setup as soon as I joined. No, I forgot to push the yes on the tires.
Oh
so
no!
The entire rest of the run there, I was trying to hold off Nesu, which I think if Nesu locked in, he could have gotten onto me. I had some pretty bad mistakes. I could not hold that car onto the circuit. Between my like 4 hours of sleep from when I last slept at like 9 o'clock, it's like 5 where I'm at right now, 5 o'clock p.m. So I've been up a little bit. There were some corners where I completely went straight because I no longer processed that there was a corner there. I was like, what? There's a corner? So that was fun. But I was finding that last stint not having tires, and actually not only just not having tires, but having cold tires because it cooled down during the stop. But I'd feel probably a lap or two too much, but it's always good to go a lap or two too much rather than a lap or two too little.
Well, I mean, it's still something you've learned today. Like you'll need tires in the next
I've
time
learned,
and so on.
I've learned that I have to press the little knob on my wheel just a little bit more. If I finagle with it, the car will feel better, or something like that.
Well, still, it's all nice, and also as we know, Sebring is quite a tricky track. So not having too much pace here
Even
is
tricky.
is not really something to be ashamed of. I mean, just learning the last corner takes hours, so that's something to be said. And
I don't even know how you're supposed to like approach the last corner. There's a lot of corners on this course. How are you even supposed to approach it? Because I go into a corner, someone's trying to get around me, blue flags. I go into a corner, they go up right behind me through the center of the course. I'm like, holy, how did they get that speed through the corner? I cannot get the car to stick in like that. It's amazing what some of these guys can do with the Miata. It's truly a talent to get that thing to the front. I know someone mentioned how difficult the car is. I don't blip it nearly enough. I don't got that in my muscle memory quite yet. I can barely get the thing around the course as is. But I guess I gotta move on to Imola, which is a sprint race.
yep. So what can I say? This round is done and dusted. It was fun, of course, seeing your race and have your experience in this one. And next one is Imola, and hopefully, I mean, Imola is not known to be an easy track, but still, I think it's gonna be easier than of course, Sebring.
Imola, I don't know if it's meant to have this kind of moniker, but Imola's known to not really have a good overtaking kind of thing going on, from what I hear. I'm hoping it's a little better than what I'm hearing, but it sounds like I'm pretty much going to flip the strategy I have here or not do any strategy at all.
I mean, Imola is an hard track to overtake, but at the same time, it's you have to consider that technically it's with faster cars that it's hard to overtake. I feel like with the Miatas, it's gonna be a back and forth
the
once again.
Miatas, it should be a bit better. Yeah, I know the Nürburgring GP isn't. It's technically not the best. It's when it comes to like Formula One circuits, it's one of the narrowest. But for Miata, it was perfect, right?
Absolutely.
That was a great track for those cars. That very specific layout was very good for those cars. I was driving a few hours ago without the arena and kind of like GT kind of cars. It sucked ass. I hate turn 2, especially the turn 2 like cut. That would go after the arena. I hate that. I hate it with a passion, especially when it's ported in a beam and there's an invisible wall where the turn 2 apex is, and you just smash straight into it and total your car. I hate it. I hate Nürburgring GP when it's in beam and G drive. But I also kind of hate Imola in the same way, because I remember cutting my tires up and cutting my car up over all sorts of curbs through the middle section of Imola. So I'm hoping the Miata takes those curbs a little bit better in the game it was made for than as a port. So of course I'm looking forward to that. I kind of have to at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be of course fine. I'm sure about that.
It's gonna be a MYASS race. That's all I can say. A classic MYASS special.
A certified MYASS special. But yeah,
Yeah.
that being said, it was nice to have both of you in this race and here in this interview. And well, we'll see both of you
Thank you.
back in Imola.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Guess I go now or something?
Yeah, you're free. You're free to go. Don't worry.
Have
Well, they got shot by Catalan here in the interview room, so that's something. But that's nice, of course. And I don't know if there's anyone left to interview. I think Lobter probably, and Darcy also was missing before. But we're gonna find out soon who the Catalan decides to send into the butcher room, also known as the interview room. And as we wait solidly for new interviewers, we start to think about Tits, which decides to enter the room instead. Hello, Tits.
No, I just wanted to inform you that the Dart is very, very tired. So
Yeah,
for
no problem.
tonight, we're gonna call it tonight for the interviews.
Absolutely, no problem. So yeah, what can we say from this? What have we kids? What have we learned tonight from this race?
Do not race at Sebring, but if you do, race there at night.
And with this words of wisdom from Tits, I think it's the right time to close the stream and call it a night. So thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you back in Imola for the sprint race. We're gonna have that. Bye bye, and have a look
Bye-bye.
for the next round of MYASS.